Burden. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-462-3333.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
This is Josh Simon, your South Carolina Gamecocks tight end. You are now listening to 107.5 The Game.
A Cumulus media station. Football Friday.
Sponsored by Brian's Heating and Cooling.
Brian's Heating and Cooling, where they take your comfort personally. Give them a call for all your commercial and residential comfort needs. 803-796-1788 or briansheatingandcooling.com.
Antoine Juice breaks away at the 30, 20, going for the pylon at the 5, dives for it. Call it. Touchdown, Carolina.
Football Friday on your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
And we're off and running. Friday morning, get yourself up, get yourself out to bed, preferably get dressed, get everybody in the family dressed, and let's get off to school. If you have it, get off to the fair. If that's where you're going, maybe watch a Friday the 13th movie, if that's what you want to do today, or just get yourself ready for another fun weekend of football. Welcome in to the early game. Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen, as we get you up and get you going after well, some of you might not be in a good mood this morning. The Braves cannot get it done, Preston Thorne. 3-1 last night. They fall to the Phillies. Bryce Harper and those beautiful locks of hair, they dash I don't know. It, to me, as I put out there on Twitter, Preston, I've been a Braves fan really all my life because of my dad, my parents going to games and whatnot. But again, I don't let the Braves really make or break my night or day. But, man, I tell you what, for the past about 30 years, with the exception of 2 years, Preston, that story last night is the story of the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, like I said, no matter how many years I stay away from baseball, I was brought back to 12-year-old Preston, sitting downstairs, watching TBS, watching the Minnesota Twins and Kirby Puckett beat us, watching some random middle reliever have the day of his life against the Braves. It felt like deja vu all over again.
Yeah, just another time where the Braves have this incredible regular season. Again, I grew up watching Maddox, Glavine, and Smoltz dominate for 162 games, only to fall apart when it would matter most. And last night, I don't want to say the same thing, but Ronald Acuna probably, or most likely, or a very likely chance, I would guess you would say, with a chance to be National League MVP. Incredible season. Preston, I don't know. What was it? Is it Braves mojo? Is it history that Acuna's at the plate, bases loaded, a chance to maybe tie, maybe take the lead, and you're just like, yeah, this doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel like he's got a good chance. Were you in that same boat with Acuna in the seventh at bat, bases loaded, 2 outs? Our best against their best, or well, not their best, but one of their top relievers. I think it was Craig Kimbrell.
One of the best, yeah.
Yeah, Craig. No. And again, it doesn't work out in the Braves' favor.
Bill, see, that's why you're a better person now. That's why you're probably a little bit more healthier this morning, man. Because no, I did not feel that way. I thought that our guy was going to come up and he was going to deliver. And Bill, he did deliver. He hit the ball as far as you could without it going out of the stadium. And the rookie center fielder makes a really awkward catch, which I thought he was going to drop. It was about as brave as it could be. So, no, I wasn't like you, Bill, because I thought our guy was going to deliver.
Okay. All right. Slight difference between us this morning then. 803-404-6100 if you want to hop in this morning and weigh in on the Braves last night, or if you want to weigh in on college football. Oh, my goodness. Preston, please tell me you had the 2 TV setup going, or somehow, some way you managed to catch an epic Thursday night Big 12 game, what they're all known for, the rivalry that is West Virginia heading down to Houston, the Dana Holgerson Bowl. Oh, my goodness. What a game that was, and what a final about 18 seconds where it looks like West Virginia has gone in. They're going to keep a magical season going, and then a penalty and a Hail Mary. And boy, oh boy, did we have a college football scenario last night. Please tell me you caught some of that.
I saw the very end of that game, and as the Twitter folks say, the game got drunk pretty late. It was a very stupid ending to a game, which is the reason why we love college football.
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible. If you didn't see it, fantastic game last night between Houston and West Virginia. SMU also picking up a victory over East Carolina. But, man, we'll get into that a little bit this morning. Preston will be with us for about an hour. We'll get a lot of his thoughts on this coming weekend, what he sees. Up next, we'll get his big thoughts on the Gamecocks Gators. Then we'll look at the weekend that will be for college football. Sneaky good weekend, Preston. I'll say this, sneaky good weekend this coming weekend in terms of games that I think have playoff implications. Oregon and Washington, obviously a very big one at 3:30 that is going to have a big deciding factor in the Pac-12. I'm not saying that I'm not saying the next one has a playoff implication, but Texas A&M and Tennessee, I think very big at 3:30 this coming weekend. You go to the night games, Southern Cal and Notre Dame. Southern Cal and that, what do you want to say, porous? Is that even nice enough? Porous defense, Preston? Is that fair to them?
Well, Bill, if you remember from earlier this week when we had our conversations about stop rates, I don't think we can say a lot about the other USC. I think we got to relax on the name calling, lest we look in the mirror, sir.
Well, I'm just pointing it out that
I understand what you're doing. I'm just saying, what do they say? What's the glass houses? Don't throw stones in glass. Whatever that saying is, that's all I'm saying.
Miami, North Carolina will be a big one this weekend. We'll get into that a little bit. A lot to do here as we roll through the morning. 803-404-6100 is how you can be a part of the program, but we would not be the early game if we did not start with a little Gamecock Larry. And Gamecock Larry, ready to make a prediction. How you feeling this morning, young man? Hopefully feeling good like a Gamecock should.
Well, I ain't feeling too good. Been feeling kind of bad last couple of days and week nights, and can't sleep. Got up this morning at 5 minutes after 2. But I'm gonna tell you, I can't talk no trash to Gator Ryan. I didn't get to talk no trash to him, but I gotta talk trash to Gilbert America Root Hall. You keep leaving messages. Can't get to talk to you in person on the phone like you're supposed to. What happened to them writing letter days, talking to you on them mobile telephones where you could talk to each other instead of trying to read off of it and I can't reply. So you just keep on putting what you want to on there, but you're going to lose this weekend. I don't know who you're playing, but you're going to lose. But a shout out to my racing team, Gamecock. Oh Lord, Gamecock. What's it? Gamecock. I forgot it. No, I ain't got it. Gamecock Lucas Westland's proud dad see that. But let me tell you about these games this weekend. I got about 3 predictions I want to make if you got time. Gamecocks. Oh, let me give you that one last. Alabama going to beat Arkansas 31-24. And the game that I'm looking forward to is Missouri-Kentucky. Kentucky, you're going to go up there, and I don't like either one of you coaches. I don't like you. I don't, never will, never have. 38-34 Kentucky. Then A&M and Tennessee. Poe, what's his name? Jimbo. Jimbo ain't won many games in the top 5 or 10. I don't know how he got that contract. Anyway, Tennessee, I'll say 37-31 Tennessee. And I'm a Gamecocks. We're going to go out there. And you, Gamecock Nation, you're going to see a complete different team, both offense and defense. It may not be like you want it, but we're going to win this game. And I've been debating between 27 and 21. So I'm going to say 34-20 Gamecocks. That's about all I got to say. You want to wish you all a good weekend. Sit back, find some joy. We're going to win this game. I still love you, Bill. You didn't talk bad about me. Tell you, I don't know, but I still love you both, buddy. I started, no, Gamecock, get your thoughts together. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Have a good weekend. Gamecock Larry goes sit back in his recliner and find some joy. Go Gamecocks. Have a good weekend. Love all y'all.
There you go. So what Preston, did we get those predict? I got Tennessee. Is that right? 37-31. I believe he dislikes Missouri more than Kentucky, if I understood that correctly. And did I catch a score prediction in there? It started with the 20. I was
the first score was 31-24.
Okay. All right. 31-24. So there we go. So the official Gamecock Larry predictions are in. You can officially call your bookie this morning or your person that you like to wager a soda with and put your Gamecock Larry prediction in. You'll feel good about it, Preston. We will talk about that. We'll get Preston's big thoughts, overall thoughts on this game this weekend. We've covered it from a lot of different angles. From the run game aspect of Patrick DeMarco, from the Florida side of David Waters. We'll get Preston Thorne's big thoughts when we come back. You're listening to the early game.
Here's what's coming up on the game.
No touchdown yet in the Lawyer Lisa Special Teams Touchdown Contest. The pot is now up to $600. Head to 1075thegame.com to register.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 1075 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Bill Gunner for Dr. Dan Balknight and the Men's Clinic. You know, as men, sometimes we tend to push through our health issues. We think, we can tough it out. We don't need to talk to anybody. We'll just figure it out ourselves. Don't do that. At the Men's Clinic, they see patients seeking a variety of symptoms that can affect men physically, mentally, emotionally. You might have low energy drive, a lack of motivation, maybe struggles with concentration or memory, such as brain fog. You might have mood changes, anxiety, depression, and you need to be able to talk about it. You need to be treated for it. And at the Men's Clinic, their practice maintains the highest medical standards while offering a comfortable environment in which they can openly speak about their health concerns. Contact Dr. Dan Balknight today, 803-875-MENS. Again, that's 803-875-MENS. You can even get a free testosterone test. You never know what's wrong until you find out. And Dr. Dan Balknight, with over 20 years of experience, is ready to help you. 803-875-MENS. That's the Men's Clinic right here in Columbia.
Never before and maybe never again. South Carolina's truck giant, Dodge Land on Greystone, is taking up to $12,000 off new Rams. Quad cab, crew cab, heavy duty. Big trucks, big savings. And where can you get up to 20% more for your trade? South Carolina's truck giant, up to $6,000 more. Don't wait. This has never happened before and maybe will never happen again. $12,000 off new Rams at Dodge Land on Greystone, jtsdodge.com.
Palmetto Propane, a family-owned company, has been delivering propane to homes and businesses for more than 60 years. With professional installation, exceptional service, and premium gas log and outdoor fire features, we're proud to be South Carolina's leading full-service propane and fuel provider. And our online payment and scheduling give you the access you need anytime, anywhere. Visit us at palmettopropane.com to connect with us and to find a location near you.
Palmetto Cards is South Carolina's largest hobby shop for all your trading card needs. Open Monday through Saturday at 404 West Main Street in Lexington. Palmetto Cards is South Carolina's largest dealer of sealed wax and singles, baseball, basketball, football, Pokemon, and more. Need to have your cards graded? Palmetto Cards is a grading submission center for PSA, SGC, and Beckett. They are always paying cash for your collection. Visit PalmettoCards.com for more information.
Trucks, we want trucks. New Silverados are on the ground now, and more are on the way to Herndon Chevrolet. We're taking up to $15,000 off to get you in your new truck. Stop by your hometown Chevy dealer and shop all your favorite models at prices you'll love. Find new roads at Herndon Chevrolet or visit us online at herndonchevy.com today.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you want to smile.
Pete Elwine Pool and Spa is your hometown hot tub dealer where sales and service go hand in hand. If you've been thinking about buying a hot tub, come check out our full line of hot tubs and explore the benefits of hydrotherapy, which includes stress relief and increased blood flow and promotes overall health and well-being. Models start as low as $5,000. Pete Elwine Pool and Spa, 5541 Sunset Boulevard. You'll find us on Facebook or online at PeteElwinePools.com.
Must text and title with approved credit call 888-320-6359 for details. Never before and maybe never again. South Carolina's Kia Giant. JT's Kia goes where no Kia dealer has gone before. Save thousands off new Kias. Save thousands in interest. 3.75% Telluride Sorrento's Carnivals. Get 20% more for your trade. Up to $6,000 more. No payments till next year. And never, ever pay more than sticker. South Carolina's Kia Giant. JT'sKia.com.
1075 The Game On Demand podcast menu.
Sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
If you're dealing with injuries or pain, our team is here to get you better sooner.
On the home of the Gamecocks, 1075 The Game. 1075 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 1075 The Game.
And looking at the traffic conditions for your Friday morning. I-77 southbound at Decker Boulevard, we have a report of a tie-up there. In downtown Columbia, Gadsden Street at Lady Street, we do have a report of an accident. Might see some afternoon showers today, but this morning should be okay. 73 will be our high. Could see some morning showers tomorrow, then it should be clearing out. 80 for the high. 72 on Sunday under cloudy conditions. But right now, it's a dry start to your morning and 57 on the early game.
Football Friday.
Sponsored by Brian's Heating and Cooling.
On your home of the Gamecocks. In Columbia, 1075 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Six 17 on your Friday morning, your football Friday morning. Get you up and get you going here. Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. Should be a fun day as we get ready for a big game here in Columbia. 3:30 tomorrow, Williams-Brice Stadium, South Carolina and the Florida Gators. Again, coming up later on today, you can hang out with Tyler, Chris, Wes, and Colin. They'll be at Steel Hands Brewery, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. today, 2350 Foreman Street in Casey. And then later today, 3 to 6, you can join Jay and Terry over at Columbia Craft, 520 Green Street, right here in Columbia. So we'll get you ready for the big game this afternoon throughout the day. And you can join us right here for some great coverage. Speaking of great coverage, we turn to him every time we need in-depth sports, football knowledge. And Preston Thorne, we've talked all about it this week. We have gotten completely into the minutia, the run game. You had football hands, you and Patrick DeMarco did, but you start to look at this game on Saturday and really analyze it, break it down. And what is Preston Thorne's big key or big takeaway from this game right now?
Bill, I think I'm going to have to go with the theme of our show as it says in one of our openers. And that's, I don't know. Because Man, this game is almost like it's like the Spider-Man meme of those, when the two Spider-Mans are looking at each other and it's like, who are you? Who are you? Are we the same person? I don't have a very clear idea of really. I watched South Carolina for this game this year. I think I got some answers as to who we are, but we're coming off of a bye week, maybe some things change. Florida doesn't necessarily know exactly what they want to do. Bill, I would not be surprised if this game, to quote like we just said about the West Virginia game, I wouldn't be surprised if this game gets wacky, goofy, drunk, however you want to decide it. I really don't have a great feel for what this game. But I know you come to me for expert opinion, analysis, football ends, and I don't know if we got it for this game, sir.
Fair enough.
Yeah, you're right on what you're saying. I don't know what to expect out of this game. I think South Carolina wins this football game tomorrow. I think South Carolina plays better as we have seen them do. I keep calling it the technical advantage because we've seen Florida struggle on the road. We've seen South Carolina play better after bye weeks. But that's the technical advantage, so to speak. I don't know. Does Billy Napier's new strategy of leaving games go earlier, getting good nights of rest, arriving at the stadium, does that pay off? What does seem to be the reason that Billy Napier's ball club can't play well on the road? South Carolina's better at home, but none of that matters, Preston, does it? I mean, do you ever remember a time where you thought, man, we don't play that well somewhere? Was there ever a mindset of we struggle in this spot or that spot?
Yeah, I don't know how much that matters, and unfortunately, you get to the point where it starts becoming a thing, and then maybe you talk it into becoming a thing, and maybe players are sort of aware of the outside noise that's happening. But I don't think you don't feel that as a player. Nobody on the field said, well, we haven't won 7 games on the road. This is probably going to be another one. I don't think that's the case. That being said, there's an obvious home field advantage to playing at Williams-Brice. It's a really intimidating environment to play in. There's a lot of things that are happening. It's really exciting. It might be disorienting for maybe some players that haven't been there before. So there's that. But that also kind of wears off once you get into the actual game. So I don't think that's a huge thing. But this is, I guess, what we do know is this, and it's as cliche as it's always been. We know about this league, as Will Muschamp would say, you have to be able to run the ball and you have to be able to stop the run. We know that. We get that. We're tired of hearing that. We understand that. Unfortunately, at South Carolina, we have not been able to stop the run, and Florida relies on the ground game to really get them going. So I think that's going to be the key matchup that we have to figure out. If we can slow down or even squelch that run game, then I like you, think that Spencer Rattler and the offense can prevail.
The run game will be a big storyline tomorrow. Both sides. But I think given a week, an off week, a bye week, to develop the offensive line for Lonnie Teasley. We heard Patrick DeMarco talk a little bit about his admiration for Lonnie Teasley and how he works with those guys. And I thought he said something that was interesting on Wednesday about Lonnie Teasley. And Preston, I know you've been around coaches like this. If they don't win in their kind of, their group, wasn't one-on-ones, I guess, essentially, but what do you call it, group battles? Lonnie Teasley doesn't take it well and ends up going back to your position drills, I guess, and those guys feel the wrath of their position coach. I can see Brad Long being like that back in the day, right?
Very much so. So you have your one-on-one, and that's sort of your warm-up, and you're getting ready. Then you go to your groups. It might be inside drill or pass pro. And as a player, when you feel that train sliding off the track, and you know that you're looking at the practice schedule, you got to go back to spend some individual time with your coach. Not a great feeling. And to hear that from Patrick, and also, like you said, hear Patrick's sort of endorsement for Lonnie, I think that should make both fans a little bit more comfortable, because obviously Patrick doesn't strike me as somebody who would sugarcoat anything that he had to say. And so that to me was a ringing endorsement. And I do think that even though he may not be working with the best ingredients, I think Lonnie Teasley is going to keep trying to get the best out of what he has on that offensive line.
803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in. I guess the question becomes, all right, Preston, like, do we have a number on what Spencer Rattler has to do, or do we have a number on what Mario Anderson has to do? Is it would you rather have 325 yards? I'm not going to throw a touchdown number on there, but would you rather have South Carolina and Spencer Rattler get the passing game cranked up, or do you feel better if Mario Anderson's chugging for about 80 yards tomorrow?
You hit it right on the head, Bill. I think it's not even going to be a yards number. I think we got to see Mario Anderson carry the ball 20 to 25 times, barring injury or anything silly like that. He has to be able to carry that ball so that the South Carolina offense can win the time possession game, keep Florida's offense off the field, maybe give the defense a break and not let Florida's offense get into the running game. So it's maybe it's playing defense by offense. I'm pretty sure that Spencer's going to be able to get going if we can protect him. But if Mario can get 20 to 25 carries, even if it's only for 80 yards, I'm not saying 150 yards, things like that. I don't think we need the yardage, but we have to be able to kind of control the game. And if we're coming down towards the end of the game with the lead, we're going to be able to need to salt the game away with our running game.
You know, Craig, on our live stream, go to youtube.com, search, join, be a part of. Chuck, Craig, David, Robin, Anthony, Carlton. Carlton, by the way, pointing out it's game day. Bearcats and Blue Devils, and by that he means BC and Dreer tonight, the Watch Fox 57 game.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But Craig has a great point. He's and it's something that it's just common sense, but Preston, we don't mention enough of. Craig says get positive yardage on first down. That's the biggest key, and it hasn't been great for the Gamecocks. And he's right, not playing behind the stick. South Carolina on first down has to give themselves a chance on second and third down. You cannot, he's right about that, not having second and 10 or definitely third and long and putting yourself in obvious passing situations.
There's a dork stat for that. It's called success rate. And I'm trying to look it up and see what it is now. And maybe we'll come back to that after the break. But that's absolutely right. The South Carolina has to have a better success rate in order for them to win. If we're looking up there, this is just off the cuff, just looking this up. Florida has a 48% success rate compared to South Carolina's 41% success rate. What success rate means is, do you get, say if it's first and down, first and 10, do you get 3 yards? So do you get the conversion, or do you get half the amount of yards needed in order to get the conversion? And again, it's a very dorky stat, but it does give you a clue into how the offenses have performed.
803-404-6100. We always Preston's bringing the dorky stat feature really into our program very well, Jim.
I'm really trying, man. You know, I'm trying to rely on the analytics dorks to give us some more information so that we can make sure that our eyes are correct.
Preston,
and Bill, here's the deal. I'm only bringing in the stats that confirm what I think. That's how this goes.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. No, but that's a good one. You said success rate. Another one, you brought up stop rate this week. You've brought the Pro Football Focus stats in. We're very, very glad. 803-404-6100. We'll get into some more dorky stats, and we'll also, with Preston Thorne, take a look around the college football scene this coming weekend. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
Here's what's coming up on the game.
Want to win tickets to the Florida-South Carolina game Saturday, October 14th? Just go to Gamecock Central online to register.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
All right, Preston here. Let me tell you about my friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. So if your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. They'll come to you, and they'll give you a free quote for any job. That means if you're at work and you need somebody to make an appointment, they'll come out to you. If you're at school, they'll come to you. Even if you're at home, they will come to you and take care of that on your car. If it's a cracked windshield, that's no problem. They'll come out to your location and replace it for you, usually for free, and they'll work directly with your insurance to take it with a head. So if you're looking to increase the value of your home with new windows and mirrors, Absolute Glass will come out and take care of all of that for you. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. I say it all the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com, online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
Football is rolling. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your football wagering info with up-to-the-minute stats, news, scores, and matchup breakdowns. Get the latest game odds, spreads, and totals for all football with BetOnline.net's real-time updates. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Plus text entitled with approved credit call 866-243-4623 for details. Never before and maybe never again. South Carolina's truck giant Dodge Land on Greystone is taking up to $12,000 off new Rams. Quad cab, crew cab, heavy duty. Big trucks, big savings. And where can you get up to 20% more for your trade? South Carolina's truck giant, up to $6,000 more. Don't wait. This has never happened before and maybe will never happen again. $12,000 off new Rams at Dodge Land on Greystone. JT'sDodge.com.
Hello and welcome to The Kroger Show. At Kroger, everyone wins when it comes to saving big. Because when you order online through the Kroger app, you get the same great prices, deals, and rewards on pickup or delivery that you do in-store with no hidden fees or markups. So no matter how you shop, you'll always save big at Kroger. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Treat yourself to something sweet. Halloween candy is 33% off October 13th through the 15th with your card and digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Plus text entitled with approved credit call 888-320-6359 for details. Never before and maybe never again. South Carolina's Kia giant. JT's Kia goes where no Kia dealer has gone before. Save thousands off new Kias. Save thousands in interest. 3.75% Telluride, Sorrento's, Carnivals. Get 20% more for your trade. Up to $6,000 more. No payments till next year. And never ever pay more than sticker. South Carolina's Kia giant. JT'sKia.com.
Pete Wine Pool and Spa is your hometown hot tub dealer where sales and service go hand in hand. If you've been thinking about buying a hot tub, come check out our full line of hot tubs and explore the benefits of hydrotherapy, which includes stress relief and increased blood flow and promotes overall health and well-being. Models start as low as $5,000. Pete Wine Pool and Spa, 5541 Sunset Boulevard. You'll find us on Facebook or online at PeteLWinePools.com.
Just how does a car repair shop last in business for over 50 years like Suddeth Automotive? By providing affordable, reliable, and honest auto repair. But if you ask them, they'll tell you it's their loyal customers who come back time and time again to entrust them with their car repairs. Well-trained technicians, service packages, and monthly specials. Isn't it time you became a customer? Give them a call or come by at 1410 North Millwood Avenue or make an appointment at SuddethAuto.com.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet, where saving is always the name of the game. The lowest price, guaranteed, or they'll pay you $1,000. South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
Don't miss Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning's thrilling fall sale. Call now and mention me, Bill Gunner, at 1075 The Game to get 3 rooms cleaned for $129. Or schedule online, ZerorezColumbia.com. Zerorez, spell it backwards or forwards, is the right way to clean.
1075 The Game traffic, sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 1075 The Game.
I-77 southbound at Decker Boulevard, an accident there has been cleared, so traffic might be a little slow there yet, but it will be getting better because that is out of the way. Gadsden Street at Lady Street still do have the report of a tie-up there. Might see some evening showers today. 73 for the high. Should be fairly clear during the day, though. 80 for the high tomorrow with some morning showers. By Sunday, clouds and 72. Pretty nice start to your morning. It is dry. 57 on the early game.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 1075 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Up and at 'em. Let's go. Big Big weekend for South Carolina over at Williams-Brice Stadium. Preston Thorne, big weekend. Continue to discuss that as we go through the morning. But obviously there are other games around the country, Preston, that have some merit to them. Noon slate tomorrow, that's not great. You know, you can kind of get away with getting all the honeydew chores out of the way. Anything you got going on tomorrow, go ahead and knock it out early on. Georgia, Vanderbilt, Indiana, and Michigan. Michigan's like a 30-some-odd point favorite. Ohio State, Purdue, Syracuse, Florida State. I mean, if you're into this kind of thing, Michigan State and Rutgers. But if you're into that kind of thing, please seek help. Iowa State and Cincinnati. You get the point. There is the Arkansas-Alabama game. And Preston, I was watching last night the television show leading into, I believe it was into SMU, ECU, or something on one of the ESPN channels. The show Daily Wager. People said, Alabama not completely ready to go just yet. They're still working out some kinks with Jalen Milroe, some issues there. Coaching can get a little suspect. Arkansas is back against the wall. Alabama back home, early start time. You give any credence to Arkansas as a 20-point, 19.5-point dog going in and turning that into a late fourth quarter game where KJ Jefferson makes a play and lo and behold, they knock off Alabama?
No, I do not. I think the Arkansas something's not right in the water down in Arkansas right now. And I like Sam Pittman a lot, and I actually have a lot of faith in him as a head football coach. Something doesn't seem right as far as what they have going on there. And also with that being said, I have the ultimate faith in Saban. Not necessarily so in the rest of his staff, but I don't see that one getting that far.
You say you have the ultimate faith in Saban, but I mean, again, you look at his coaching staff right now. Many a former Gamecock on there.
Yeah. This is where I was like, come on, Nick. I'm not sure what you're doing. Have you seen these guys' resumes? And it's always interesting. We as a coaching staff, and I guess every fan base does this, but we know what the secondary looked like under that coach, or we know what the special teams were not doing under their coach. Also, we know how the offensive line didn't play when their offensive line coach played. You want to take it to the wide receivers. Weren't great when their wide receiver coach was here too. So it's always interesting how that works out.
803-404-6100. That's kind of your big one is that nooner there with Arkansas and Alabama. If you want to label that's number 11 Alabama unranked. Arkansas. The afternoon games, and just real quick to go back to Preston yesterday, Penn State, this would be the week to get the explosive plays going. They take on UMass before hooking up with Ohio State next week. UMass and Penn State, 3:30. Preston, over under. I need to write this down, and we need to track it on Monday. Plays of 49.5 yards. Over under 2.
Bill, I'm going to take the under on this one, sir.
You don't think James Franklin, after listening to our clip this week, listening to the reporter says, you know what? That's not a bad idea. We're just going to throw it deep at least 2 or 3 times and see what happens. Doesn't matter if he's covered by 4 guys or he's not covered at all. We're going to throw it deep. You taking the under on 2 plays of 49.5 yards. You're taking the under of 2.
I'm going to take the under, but I do like the idea of James Franklin. Just one day when he's sitting back in his offices late at night, he's like, you know what? Maybe he had a point. Maybe I overreacted a little bit. I do like that idea. I'm still going to take the under.
Tell me James Franklin is not the coach who would do that and then come to the post-game press conference and say, well, we were planning to do it already. I didn't want to give away our game plan.
He's 100% that guy. He's 100%. No, you didn't have anything to do with that. We've been fully informed of that the whole time. Yeah. You know how sometimes somebody tells you something and you've been wrong the whole time, but you can't let them know that they're actually right. So you just got to be like, yeah, whatever, man. And then you go back and you're like, they might have had a point.
The other big game, what is your take on Oregon and Washington, future Big Ten opponents? This is number 8, number 7. It's in Seattle. This is going to be a fun game. Bo Nix against Michael Penix Jr. This is your game of the day, 3:30 ABC.
Well, first off, I checked the age IDs on both of these quarterbacks can rent cars legally, correct?
They are old, yes. Bo Nix, again, both of them Yes, both of them are middle-aged men with families, with mortgages, with
Yeah.
with
Neither one of them are on their parents' insurance anymore.
Yeah.
They're solely by themselves.
Bo Nix will be 24 in February. He's 23 right now, and I'll get you the exact age for Michael Penix Jr. here in just a second. Penix also 23. Yes, they are older than older than some NFL quarterbacks.
Yeah, okay. Not still on the parents' insurance. Okay, cool. As I said earlier this week, I haven't watched Washington. I haven't watched them at all this year, so I don't really know what to expect. I will be watching them this Saturday. Oregon, obviously, I watched them against Deion and them boys. I did check that out. Oregon seems to be moving away from what we thought they used to be, where there was basically, and this is an old idea of who they were, but the Chip Kelly idea, them spreading the field out, being really fast. Dan Lanning comes from the trio of Kirby Smart, Nick Saban, etc. Defense first, kind of tough nose. I'm going to be interested in that game and seeing how Oregon cements that identity and takes that identity to the West Coast.
Has Oregon become a program where, as long as you're a pretty good coach, you go in with it with no problem with because they're starting to win. They were kind of winning under Mario Cristobal. Even Willie Taggart had a decent season out there, which is what earned him the Florida State job. Obviously, we know what Mike Bellotti kind of got it going. Chip Kelly obviously was very good. Has Oregon become that program that just you can kind of keep it running?
That's a really good point, Bill. It feels like that's the case, and I feel like a lot of the coaches go out there because we saw what happened with Willie Taggart, and Mario Cristobal's yet to be determined. We'll see how that goes. But it feels like it's a stepping stone job to folks getting another bigger job. And I don't know, they just have the foundation. They obviously have a base amount of money and support out there, and they have a solid recruiting base with being able to go into California and recruit guys. It seems like a very, very stable place to go win some ball games.
803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in on any of that. You got a prediction there? You want to take a shot here on a Friday morning?
Yeah, man. Let's go with Oregon. What's the line on this?
Great. You asked me the one question I don't have right in front of me at the time.
I'm sorry, sir.
I will pull that. Yesterday again, I was watching the daily wager show on ESPN. They were leaning with the home team there. They were leaning with Washington in that matchup. The line right now stays with Washington -3, kind of getting the home field advantage on that. You staying with Oregon?
Yeah, I'm going to stay with Oregon on this.
803-404-6100. In the SEC at 3:30, Tennessee and Texas A&M. It feels like kind of a weird, massive game for Jimbo. You and I kind of discussed this yesterday. A massive game for Jimbo Fisher, because if he loses by the second weekend in October, they have 3 losses, and their wins are not all that impressive. You will have lost your big games against Miami, against Alabama, and in this scenario, you would lose to Tennessee. They did slip by Auburn 27-10 and knock off Arkansas 34-22. But Preston, it's got this feel that if they can't win this game, I feel like there just becomes more and more questions around Jimbo Fisher.
And man, it's the same question we sort of had as we looked at Jimbo Fisher, and what we're starting to see is that is there that much of a difference between Jimbo Fisher and Kevin Sumlin? Maybe, maybe not, but they put a lot of money into Jimbo and staff, and not even into Jimbo, but we have to expand the conversation into, as Nick Saban pointed out last year, how much money they put into their roster. And they're just not getting the results. I don't know how long this is gonna last, but if Tennessee beats them, that's just another team that sort of leapfrogs them in that race in the middle of the SEC. And I don't think those folks are gonna stand for that.
You going game in Knoxville? The line on this one here, to go back to it, is 3 again in favor of Tennessee. Tennessee, the home favorite. You going Tennessee? You going A&M?
Bill, I'm a root for chaos here, and I would like to see Tennessee win and see how the Texas A&M fans react.
I do wonder. I mean, South Carolina obviously goes there in 2 weeks. I do wonder how that would shake out, what it would do for the momentum and the psyche and even the mindset of the fan base of that of Texas A&M if they do lose that game. We'll come back. We'll take a look at a few more games, get Preston's thoughts on the South Carolina game. Again, you're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, she's Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
The The game will be at the beach, in the PD, and the Midlands. That almost covers the whole Palmetto State. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. Sponsored by FanDuel Sportsbook, make every moment more. Our defense has kind of carried us so far this season, Patrick Mahomes said after Kansas City defeated Denver 19-8 last night. Mahomes,
He's good.
the offense figured out. Boy, have they better. Citing the need to tweak a little execution things here and there, maybe a little more red zone practice. The league had better watch out when they do. I'm Boomer Esiason.
Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/win and kick off the NFL season. That's FanDuel.com/win. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
Must be present in a state where lawful to wager, must be 21 plus and present in select states. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. First online real money wager only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG in Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Tennessee, and Virginia. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342 in Arizona, 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana, 1-800-522-4700 or visit KSGamblingHelp.com in Kansas, 1-877-770-STOP in Louisiana. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net in West Virginia or call 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelpma.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.
Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause thousands of dollars in damage to your home's foundation. Canty Foundation can replace your gutters and save you money.
Canty installed gutter shutter.
Call us today for your free inspection.
Canty can fix it.
Having a reliable gutter system is essential to protecting your home's interior and exterior. Heavy rain can unleash gallons of water onto your home, and poorly maintained or leaky gutters could lead to roofing, siding, and water damage that is expensive to repair or replace. Online at candygutters.com.
There's no better place to be on a fall Saturday than at Williams-Brice Stadium.
Over here stretching it out this morning, got to play golf later today and trying to get myself stretched out. Y'all couldn't see it a little while ago, but I was actually laying on the floor, thankfully, with stretching, playing in the South Carolina Alumni Association, football alumni or something, athletic alumni. So we're stretching it out this morning, but like a 6:47 stretch session. Loosen you up.
You have more time with your fresh produce. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Right now, you can save on fresh Kroger turkey. Take it home today for just 99 cents a pound when it's in your car. Kroger, fresh for everyone. The Amazon Play forces being wiped out so fast that by 2030, 55% will be completely wiped out. The Earth's borders can't speak up when they need help. We can. Be the voice for those who have no voice. Visit worldwildlife.org. Sponsored by Brian's Heating and Cooling on your home with the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
$6:48 on a Friday morning. Get yourself up. Get yourself ready to go. It's time
for another weekend of football. Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen, and we're kind of scrolling through the games that will be this coming weekend. We'll get back into some South Carolina, Florida talk with Preston Thorne, and we will have Chris Deering coming up in the next hour as well to look at the high school slate for tonight. We were talking about Tennessee, Texas A&M. Oregon and Washington, the 3:30 slate. The evening games get going at 7 o'clock, really. Auburn and LSU. And Preston, how do you grade? We were giving out coaching candy bars the other day, some highs and lows. Hadn't watched a ton of them, but I've caught enough. The Auburn Tigers, 3-0 to start the season. Back-to-back losses, somewhat competitive. Texas A&M, and then 2 weeks ago against Georgia, 27-20. They had a bye week. Now they're going to go on the road to a team who has completely forgotten how to play defense in LSU. How do you grade the Hugh Freeze experiment so far down on the Plains?
Yeah, he doesn't grade out high enough to get a fun-sized Snickers or anything like that, but I think he's done a decent job out there. You know, and as everybody knows, we're not talking about his character, but Hugh Freeze is a pretty good coach. We understand that. We know that. He wins everywhere he goes. He does leave everywhere he leaves in the Trail of Tears. We get that. But he's a solid coach, and I don't think there's any doubt that he was going to do pretty well at Auburn.
That'll be one to keep up, 7 o'clock on ESPN, 7:30 on NBC/Peacock. Southern Cal, Notre Dame. Notre Dame thankfully removed themselves from the discussion of the college football playoff last weekend. I appreciate them just going ahead and getting out of the way for that. Also snapped a 30-game ACC regular season win streak, which was kind of insane to think about what Notre Dame was doing to the rest of the ACC, Preston. But they'll host number 10 Southern Cal. We kind of mentioned it. Yes, I realize South Carolina's got defensive issues of their own, but we can still make fun of the other Southern Cal or the other USC as it pertains to defense.
At least we ate, Bill. At least we ate.
Could be a little worse. Could be. But this game, you buying into the upset that Notre Dame pulls at home?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I don't think this happens. Notre Dame's still trying to find their footing, and the Marcus Freeman era was supposed to be based on defense, and they just haven't really pulled that all together. And also, Bill, a really tough, unfortunate thing happened to me this week regarding Lincoln Riley and Southern Cal.
Do tell.
It's unfortunate, man. The worst thing happens. I read an article about Lincoln Riley that humanized him, and now I don't hate him as much as I used to. Don't you dislike when that happens?
Yeah, it does. It does happen a little. I got to admit, because of the way, and I want to get into this with you a little bit in the next segment coming up to start at the top of the hour, because I tweeted at you last night the Steve Smith, Jerry Jeudy ordeal. If you haven't seen that, you can go to my Twitter and see it's a little backstory to that. You can go to @Will WIL Gunter GUNTER. Jerry Jeudy last night also. Yeah, I'll get it. We'll get into that a little bit more coming up at the top of the 7 o'clock hour. But Notre Dame, by the way, Preston, 2.5-point favorite per Vegas Insider tomorrow night at home against Southern Cal. One other one that's going to be really there's two other ranked versus ranked matchups tomorrow night. Miami, North Carolina. That one's more entertaining than UCLA at Oregon State. I don't know if I can get into UCLA at Oregon State, 8 o'clock on Fox. But Miami, North Carolina, we know what happened to Miami last week. Miami is obviously one play away or a overturned call away from being undefeated, and this being probably a top 15 matchup. That North Carolina loss, I'm not saying you're ever happy with a loss. You shouldn't be, Preston. But North Carolina's sliding the way. They win this one, which will be in Chapel Hill tomorrow night. They win this one, they might slide into the top 10. And you look at South Carolina going, we got 2 top 10 losses to start the year.
Bill, you absolutely want North Carolina to win this game. You absolutely are thinking, hey, look with them. That's who we lost to at the beginning of the year. It definitely makes you feel better about yourself. It improves your self-esteem. And I'm sure there's some metrics to say. We talked about Lane Kiffin. We talked about James Franklin, about some of these coaches that just don't have very many impressive wins towards the end of the season. So when you look at this thing all shapes out, North Carolina continues to win, then that loss against them at the beginning of the season doesn't sting as much.
Yeah, the North Carolina, it is kind of, we know how strong the strength of schedule has been for South Carolina to start the season in terms of you knew North Carolina was going to be pretty good based on last year, but Georgia's lived up to what they are. Tennessee's very good. I don't know if we expect, you and I kept talking about it the week after the North Carolina, South Carolina game. We didn't know what North Carolina would be. They got Tez Walker back last week. Drake May was really good. You go to North Carolina in this game, by the way?
Yes. Give me North Carolina.
There you go. So that's kind of your rundown of the major games this coming weekend. Again, UCLA, Oregon State, the other ranked versus ranked matchup tomorrow night, 8 o'clock on Fox. Also, just if you want to get into this, North Carolina State at Duke, keeping an eye on the Blue Devils. They're currently ranked 17th, and North Carolina State. So that's your kind of rundown. We'll go back into that later on in the show, go through a couple point spreads, but that's kind of your Saturday slate. Real quick, tonight, little Friday night football, you get the interesting game, I guess, if it is the Stanford-Colorado game, 10 o'clock tonight. Stanford just kind of playing it out, Preston. I don't know if Stanford still has a place, really I don't know what Stanford's going to end up being.
The best thing I've seen about this game is Dion said that he can't wait to get out of this conference so he doesn't have to play in these time slots. So.
Yeah, we might get back into that a little bit. But coming up next, we'll talk about Jerry Jeudy. A little trash talking. What happens when a player gets offended by what a commentator says? Listen to closely what I'm going to say. What is a JAG? JAG. Don't go down to the dirt.
Oh, man. Very, very familiar with the Jags.
Hour 3 of the way.
Preston here. Let me tell you about my friends at Integrated Media. Listen, we told you through the spring. We told you through the summer. The season has started. It's always time to get yourself ready and to get your outdoor setup ready. So what are you going to do? Are you going to get your Samsung Terra TVs waterproof? You can do that. You want to get outdoor speakers for TV and music. You want to get Wi-Fi that works indoors and outdoors. Or, my favorite, do you want to control all your devices from just one remote? From home theater setup to adjusting your thermostat or monitoring your security systems from your cell phone, Integrated Media is the company you need to call. So call Nathan and Michael at 803-948-8327. That's 803-948-8327. Or check them out online at integratedmediainc.com. That's online at integratedmediainc.com.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Fall is a perfect time to replace those old, outdated, drafty windows with replacement windows from Renewal by Andersen that can completely transform the look of your home. Schedule your free, no obligation, in-home consultation today at freewindowassessment.com.
Did you hear? South Carolina Department of Corrections has increased pay for nurses and medical staff. They're hiring RNs, LPNs, and more statewide. Nursing sign-on bonuses up to $10,000, shift diff, and great employee benefits available. Visit joinscdc.com to apply. Sponsored by South Carolina Department of Corrections, SCBA, and this station.
When you make a large purchase like a home, experience always matters. At Lexington Discount Homes, with thousands of satisfied customers, they're here to make your own home a reality. Located at 1847 Augusta Highway in Lexington, stop by and see such brands as Scott Built, Fleetwood, Live Oak, Cabco, and Clayton. Lexington Discount Homes, 1847 Augusta Highway in Lexington, or call 951-1900. When experience matters, come to the experts. Lexington Discount Homes.
I sound like the Tin Man this morning. I know y'all can't see, but every time I lean back, I got stuff cracking and popping my hands, wrists, ankles, back. Falling apart in here. Coming unglued.
Hometown hot tub where sales and service go hand in hand.
Ooh, 7 o'clock, still dark outside. Oh, there you go.
Sunset Boulevard. You'll find us on Facebook or online at
Oh.
PLYpools.com.
They are our cuddlers and co-workers, fur machines and love bugs, and constant companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life so much better. When we face unexpected challenges in life, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people who love their pets. and the pets who love their people, ensuring these families stay exactly where they belong, together. And you have something to offer. With an open heart and mind, there's nothing you can't do. There's no gesture too small or too big when it comes to helping. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. You can help keep pets and people together. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community.
I just sent you this Steve Smith clip on Twitter via direct message. See if you can get that and just play it through the computer. I think should be fine. Just direct message that to you.
Sponsored by Brian's Heating and Cooling. Brian's Heating and Cooling, where they take your comfort personal. Give them a call for all your commercial and residential comfort needs. 703-796-1788 or briansheatingandcooling.com. And 22 cents first away to 30. 40. Go to the power. That's for it. Football Friday on your home with the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Lawrence.
Seven a.m. Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen.
On Friday. Hope you're doing well. Get out the door. I forgot, and I probably should know this because I have 2 kids, but no school today, at least for some of the kids out there. Maybe it's a fair day, Preston. Maybe it's a fair day, and you want to get out and go enjoy a candy apple. Were you 2 ever candy apple people? Like, I think I've eaten 1 candy apple in my life, and quickly decided that was not for me.
No, I'd rather do the caramel.
Not for. Yeah, I'm with both y'all. Yeah, I'll pass.
Do you no going even to what Jen said? Do you do the caramel apple?
It's still a little bit too much for me. It's kind of sticky. Don't love it.
I'm one that I really prefer to have it at the house and then cut it and then, kind of eat slices of it as opposed to trying to just eat it off the stick.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, the stick does seem it. You get messy. It gets everywhere. The candy apple. I've never been. The candy apple is not.
It's to me, it's kind of tasty, but again, and then I'm worried about. Okay, I'm going to break all my teeth off. And
what about cotton candy? Either of you 2 cotton candy people? Preston, Jim.
No, I need a little bit. I need a little bit more bite. It kind of just dissolves in your mouth. And I'm like, okay, what happened? I don't even know what I just did.
Yeah, cotton candy is something that I've eaten, and then I feel bad about myself. Like I don't know what I've eaten. Like there's no substance. Like you're eating like Preston just said. You're eating, it kind of dissolves, and then it's got almost like a stain, if you will, of like the sugar that I feel like is on my teeth, and then I feel bad about myself, and I'm not sure what I've eaten and put in my body. And
yeah, I don't want to have the whole thing on the little, whatever it is, the cardboard tubing or something. I don't want the whole thing, but a couple of bites of it's like, yeah, that's actually pretty good. But then I can at least stop.
All right, so that's the candy. Am I leaving out? So you got cotton candy and candy apple at the fair. Am I leaving out any other candy item? Because then I'm going to go to, all right, what is the best doughy item, which would be your elephant ear, your funnel cake, or do you go for those little mini donuts?
Funnel cake.
No. Yeah, I'm with Jen on this one. Funnel cake is number 1. Elephant ear is number 3. But mini donuts. See, the thing with the elephant ear is it's just a piece of bread. It's just a dough. Funnel cakes are intricate. You got to, like, am I going to pick this piece off here? There's a little edge that's crispy.
Little
Ooh,
crispy
look at how
edges.
that one
That's
curves
the
around.
key. It's not just a big slab of dough.
Yeah. So funnel cake's number 1.
Oh, see, I go donuts. I go the cinnamon donuts. There, you just watch them. They're popping off the little conveyor belt.
But I figure I can kind of get donuts anytime. What I need to do for you guys, well, for me, but then I'll share. My dad used to make these really good donuts, like cake donuts. And I mean, it was down to a science. He had like one of those Air Daddy, Fry Daddy things.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, it basically, you'd wear your arms out mixing that dough, but then he'd cook them in that, and then you shake them in like granulated sugar. They're so good. I'm gonna have to make those.
Please do. Please do. We're not turning those down. As a matter of fact, a little disappointed that we've done this for 7 years and you haven't mentioned that until now.
I know.
But
I had to see whether this, the gig was going to stick or not before I start sharing a family thing.
Okay. So, Jen basically waits 7 years on anything to find out if it's going to work. And then
actually now it's more the fact that Preston's here. So it's like, okay, yeah, I'll do it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
Preston, I'm gonna take that as she called me ugly a couple weeks ago. That she means you're kind of husky.
I did not, Kirby.
You're kind of husky, and you'd be another guy who likes the mini donuts, so she needs to make those. So
not at all what I said, sir.
803-404-6100. Preston, in your playing days, different era, different time. Social media was not the way it is today. There was no Twitter. There was no Facebook. There was, you were still getting the majority of your information. If you wanted to read on your team or anything, I think you've mentioned it. You were like the number 3 player in the South Carolina high school rankings. And then you went to the library one day and you dropped, I think you said all the way to 26 or something.
Yes, that happened.
But so you didn't, it wasn't as easy. There was no podcast. It wasn't as easy to pick up criticism as it is today for some people. But last night, if you didn't see this, there was an altercation is the wrong word. Preston, did you see what happened between Jerry Jeudy of the Denver Broncos and Steve Smith? Now, Steve Smith, former Panther wide receiver, now NFL analyst. Did you read up and catch up on what was going on in Kansas City last night?
Bill, I have reported from every single angle of this conversation. I'll just say they exchanged pleasantries before the game.
So to give background on this, and I'm going to let you listen to the Steve Smith audio. To give background on this, Steve Smith was on a podcast, his podcast, and essentially referred to Jerry Jeudy as a JAG, J-A-G. It's not what you might think.
Just a guy.
Just a guy. Yeah, just a guy. And basically just said he doesn't do anything. He doesn't do anything to stand out. He just not very, just an average guy. Just a guy out there. Preston, have you ever heard JAG, or is that a Steve Smith term that you kind of are on board with?
No, that is not a Steve Smith term. That is a commonly used term.
Okay.
Amongst football faithful, it is a derogatory term. You never want to be called a JAG. But that is the fact of the matter is, majority of us playing football are just dudes. Most of us are not Steve Smith. So yeah, that is a term. So you had that happen on the Pirates. Now last night in Kansas City, prior to the game, we'll let you listen. Prior to the game, Steve Smith tries to kind of go up to Jerry Jeudy and essentially apologize, essentially say he was wrong. This is Steve Smith, because this happened on the sideline in front of everybody, in front of the NFL Network crew and everybody. It wasn't televised. That happened. Jerry Jeudy did not really reciprocate the, "Oh, you're sorry, I forgive you." This is Steve Smith explaining the kind of confrontation prior to the game.
A short while ago, Broncos wide receiver Jerry Jeudy was walking by, and Steve called out to him, and he got a different reaction.
I called out to him because on my podcast, Cut to It, I just talked about guys that maybe have not showed up in a way or in a manner. And so the word that I've used to describe him in the past was a JAG, just a guy. Just a guy. And so when I saw him, he's playing well. I wanted to say to him face to face, like, hey, I know I said some things in the past I probably shouldn't have, and I'm sorry. That's what I wanted to say to him. His response, Mike Robb and Bucky, was ninja. Ninja? Yes, I'm using the word ninja. I'm just using the word ninja. I don't mess with you. And it was a curse word. And so I was like, all right. And then he repeated it. So I'll say it again. I'm sorry that I said you were a jag, just a guy who's an average wide receiver they use a first-round pick on that isn't doing anything. I hope today that you actually show up in a way that you haven't showed up in the last couple of years since they drafted you. So if you ever got a problem with Agent 89, I'm sorry for saying that you're an average wide receiver that they eventually will move on. And when teams call me and asking, should they trade for you? I will say no, don't trade for Jerry Jeudy because he's mentally unable to handle constructive criticism from people who watch specifically, can he be a wide receiver? He could be a wide receiver. He's a tier 3.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh.
All right, hold on. It gets a little better. There's a video clip. You go to Twitter, you can check it out. That all transpired. As Steve Smith is talking, again later on, Jerry Jeudy's going through warm-ups. You have to go. There's no audio, so I can't play it on the radio because it just wouldn't make any sense. But there is video in warm-ups of Jerry Jeudy dancing around almost like a lunatic, really, Preston. My first thought was, shouldn't Jerry Jeudy be getting back in the wide receiver line to go through pregame warm-ups instead of dancing in front of the NFL Network set and kind of staring down Steve Smith? I mean, Jerry Jeudy's losing. He's kind of dancing over toward the set. I think the Migos, some Migos song was playing. That's what it sounds like in the background. He's rapping along with it. He's yelling along with it to be heard. Jerry Jeudy took this very personally. Preston, did you ever get criticized in this way and take something very personally on the football field?
A lot of layers here. I didn't. Coming from someone who very well could have been considered a jag, I never did take any of that criticism personally because most of the time I didn't hear it. But Bill, that's not the most interesting part about this whole conversation. I don't think Jerry Jeudy has done his research on exactly who Steve Smith Sr. is.
Agent 89, yeah.
Well, Agent 89, just to do some really quick, if you just Google search, when you put Steve Smith into Google and then the words that want to fill in is fights, that is who Steve, one of the article headlines that says, Steve Smith Sr. punches teammate again. Again. This is I don't know who Jerry Jeudy is. I don't know what his reputation is, but I know that if there's one guy who you do not want to get into a verbal or which will quickly turn into a physical confrontation, it is Steve Smith Sr. This guy is 100% unhinged and by all accounts, from what I've understood, not a great teammate dude. As spoken by, he punched his teammates on multiple occasions. So Jerry Jeudy, I would advise you just to back down on this one and don't pursue this because you don't want these problems.
Well, Jerry Jeudy, a chance to respond last night in the game with the Broncos. He's the Broncos wide receiver. 3 catches, Preston, 14 yards. 3 catches, 14 yards. And by the way, he had a long catch of 13 yards last night. 3 catches, 14 yards with a long of 13. That's right. At halftime, Jerry Jeudy was sitting on 2 catches for a singular yard. It was rough. Preston, we able to get you back after Chris Deering?
We'll see. I got to run downstairs real quick, and I'll let you know if we can get back.
Let Jen know. Preston, as you can hear, he's traveling today, but he is good enough to join us. We will keep an eye on that. Chris Deering is coming up next for the high school highlights of the week. We'll get Preston back. We'll force him into action. He's not going to be just a guy this morning. He's going to be the all-star. 8:03.
Bill, just a reminder, Bill. The headline says Steve Smith punches teammate again. This is over multiple years. Again. This is multiple years.
You think the teammate thought, oh, he's already hit me once. He definitely won't do it. Whop. There's no way he'll hit me a second time.
Steve Smith, universally not a good guy.
I dare you to cross this line. Okay.
Yeah. Steve's 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game.
Here's what's coming up on the game.
Catch the Love Chevy High School Football Show with Tommy Moody, Justin Hall, and Ed Bird this Friday at 9 p.m.
Your home of the game Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
It has been a long week. It feels like it's been a long football season already. And maybe you're ready to go home this weekend and just relax. Kick your feet up, watch some football, relax in your house. And then you're going to go home today and you're going to look around and be like, man, it's dirty in here. These kids are a mess. I've got dirt all on my floors, all in the kitchen. I need to clean. And now you're going to sigh and you're going to feel bad about the weekend. Don't do that. Enjoy your weekend. Make an appointment with the cleaning pros at Zerorez with their patented ZR water technology, scientifically proven to keep the carpets, rugs, tile, upholstery all insanely clean. And it's also going to do it without a sticky, soapy residue. So when your big team scores this weekend, you can roll around on the floor celebrating and not worry about any chemicals. Contact Zerorez today, 803-262-4020. Mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $129. Again, that's 803-262-4020. Zerorez, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean. Fall is officially here. Crisp mornings, breezy evenings, offering relief from the hot summer. But for some older folks, it also means it's time to fire up the heat. AAA Heating and Air wants to help our seniors make sure their heating systems are in tip-top shape for changing weather. That is why AAA Heating and Air is offering complimentary unit checkups to all senior citizens in our service area. If you are 62 years or older, call AAA Heating and Air at 803-677-1500 to schedule your appointment today and tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
AAA Air when you need us. AAA Heating and Air.
First text entitled with proof. Credit call 866-243-4623 for details. Never before and maybe never again. South Carolina's truck giant Dodgeland on Greystone is taking up to $12,000 off new Rams. Quad cab, crew cab, heavy duty. Big trucks, big savings. And where can you get up to 20% more for your trade? South Carolina's truck giant, up to $6,000 more. Don't wait. This has never happened before and maybe will never happen again. $12,000 off new Rams at Dodgeland on Greystone. JT'sDodge.com.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing. And for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry.
All right, rolling along. Chris Deering next. Hats being turned 19 different ways. Stretching it out in here. Good times. Good times. Hope everybody's doing well this morning. Lordy's elephant ear. I can't think the last time I've had an elephant ear.
Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com. Speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours. At 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always,
I need to get the high school scoreboard stuff.
Let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? I'm Dr. Mark Bentley with Columbia Secret for Weight Loss, and I know the secret. Our unique weight loss
For those, I actually, because Preston was going to be out, I actually reached out to Patrick last night, but I never heard back from him trying to get Patrick on today.
Points of calories, no exercising, no prepackaged or boxed meals, no surgery, and no hypnosis. Call my office now.
Never heard back from him.
824-4210.
Columbia's secret for weight loss changed my life. I've lost over 50 pounds, and now I have metabolic flexibility. To me, this program is more than just about fat
Maybe y'all
loss.
can't
It's
see
about
it,
a
but I'm
lifestyle.
actually,
Throughout this
of course, I always wear
program,
sand. I wear sandals in here.
help create a pathway to a
I saw, Jen, I saw one of the things, one of my buddies, Flash, posted on Facebook, posted a thing about Southerners, and one of them mentioned about how when it gets just slightly cool, Southern males in particular, go outside in flip-flops. I don't know if Jen's listening to me.
Or Columbia Secret for Weight Loss.
But Southern males go outside in flip-flops, shorts, and a sweatshirt, which is exactly what I'm wearing again this morning.
Hey, Chris, it's Jen. Good. Just gonna do a little traffic here, and then we will. I think you'll be ready for it. How's that sound? All right. I appreciate it. Hold on.
All right, back to the show. I don't know. Hope, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't hear from him. I was kind of surprised. He might have been. Maybe he partied a little bit too much. I thought he was in town a couple weeks ago. Actually, he texted me, said he was coming in town. I want to say Mississippi State weekend.
Clemson Road at Sparkleberry Lane, we do have a report of an accident there. Glen Street at Highway 321 and Meadowfield Road at Oakley Springs Road. An accident reported there as well. So be careful this morning, Friday for us. And taking a look at the weather, this afternoon or this evening could see some evening showers, 73 for the high, 80 tomorrow with a couple morning showers, and by Sunday, just clouds and 72. Right now, 57 on the early game.
Football Friday.
Sponsored by Brian's Heating and Cooling.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia.
Yeah, LeVar, I'm with you. The sweatshirt, shorts, and flip flops. It's a comfy outfit. I need to go up my hoodie sweatshirt game. $7:19 on a Friday morning. Another week of high school football, and joining us as he does each and every Friday, Chris Deering, the high school highlights of the week, and another fun weekend, Chris, that got going last night. Irmo and Chapin, little battle. Irmo and Chapin and Dutch Fork last night, not too far apart. Didn't go the direction that Chapin would have preferred, is from what I can understand.
Yeah, Dutch Fork got back in the win column last night with a big win over Chapin. I think it was 41-8. I saw Dutch Fork last week, and they lost a heartbreaker to White Knoll, 17-14. And I'm still going with the motto that nobody wants to see Dutch Fork come November. Their defense is really good. White Knoll scored right the first play of the fourth quarter last week to take the 17-14 lead. And then their offense turned it over twice. Dutch Fork's offense turned it over twice in the fourth quarter, right around midfield. Could never really get a drive going after that. And White Knoll, that was a really big win for White Knoll last week. Their defense is one of the best in the state. They're allowing 7 points a game. They've only allowed one opponent to even gain 200 yards this year. So that's pretty impressive no matter how you look at it. So it's that was a big win for Dutch Fork. Tom Knotts, I saw an interview with him after the game. He said it's October and you want to be playing your best ball in October. And he felt like he gave one away last week. He thought it was on him, not the players. And again, I don't think people want to see Dutch Fork across from them come November, but somebody's going to get them. And, there's still a lot of football left to be played in the regular season. We're down to 3 weeks to go, including tonight. But a lot of things still can happen and shake out in different scenarios and different ways.
Should be a lot of fun tonight as the weather will be fantastic. And let's start right here in the Midlands. A fun game, a old school battle. Brooklyn Casey taking on Dreer.
Well, believe it or not, the winner of this game will be tied for first place in that region. Dreer started off the region 2-0. Brooklyn Casey also 2-0, and so the winner of this one will likely join Gilbert as the undefeated teams left in this region, and this could be a big battle for Dreer's played a lot better of late. We haven't talked about them much this year, but Corey Jenkins is coaching over there now, and he's turning that program around. He's got them playing a lot better. And Brooklyn Casey, I think Brooklyn Casey's got one of the best 1-2 punches in the Midlands. And Will Young and Deshaun Washington. I think Young last week went for 200 yards. I've seen Washington go for 200 yards this year. Both of them can get it and go. So that's going to be a very entertaining game as well. Again, the winner of that one will be tied for first place after tonight, and that's where you want to be at this time of year.
Good day. As you mentioned, that'll be a good one here in the middle. Let's go, though, to the PD, where there's a couple really good matchups tonight down there in the I guess I should stick with the PD. Lakeview, 5-1 on the season, traveling to Latta, the home of one Phil Kornblut. Poor Latta having to associate with Phil Kornblut. 7-1 on the season. Lakeview 5-1, Latta 7-1.
Yeah, Lakeview was rolling along and lost their first game last week. And, you know, when you say Lakeview, that's a historically powerful program in the state. You know, they get a lot of people's attention. And that's going to be a real good one. There's a couple games in Class A tonight. That's one of them that's going to be really good. Again, you're playing for playoff seeding right now, and that really matters. I talked to somebody earlier this week, and they want to know who my favorites were. And I was like, you know, I really can't say that right now. I need to see the brackets because it's all going to come down to matchups, I think, in the playoffs. And, you know, if you get teams that you might play well against and not see some teams till later. So I think this is going to be one of those games that, you know, the winner is going to get an inside track to a region title. And like I say, Lattice trying to bounce back from last week. And Lakeview is they're going to line up and run the football at you. You know what they're going to do. You just got to find a way to stop it.
Another one down in the PD, Dillon, 6-1 in the season, taking on Manning, 7-0.
That's a real big one in the PD area. You know, Manning has not played the toughest schedule, but this is a chance for them to, you know, really make a statement. If they can knock off Dillon, Dillon's been up at the top of the rankings all season long. And the winner of this region has home field advantage throughout the playoffs, so that'll be a big thing. And the winner of this game takes, again, the inside track. I think that the Manning likes to run the football. They put it on the ground. They got a couple of backs right around 600 yards on the season. And we know Dillon wants to run the football, but they got Josiah Thompson, the South Carolina commit on offense. And they got a pretty good quarterback in Oxendine kid. He's getting some Power 5 looks. And if Dillon can control the football tonight against Manning, it's gonna be hard for Manning to win this game. But I like Manning's chances. It's at Manning. They've been under the radar, even though they're undefeated. I think they're ninth in the latest poll, and this is a chance for them to make a statement. And if they win this one, they will shoot way up into the polls as well.
Let's come up I-26 a little bit. 7-1 Blackville Hilda taking on 6-1 Calhoun County.
This is another one of those Class A games. This could be a real battle. Calhoun County has got the receiver that was committed to Virginia. Now he's decommitted from them, and of course his name escapes me right now. And Blackville Hilda, again, another team that's historically good, and this year once again they're good. And the winner of this one. Again, a lot on the line tonight with region position. The winner of this one is probably the inside track to be the number one seed from that region. Looked at this game this week myself, and it's a lot of playmakers in this game on both sides of the football. And I think, again, Calhoun County is a team that a lot of people hadn't taken notice of across the state. They're a little bit farther down in the polls. I actually have them a little bit higher than they've been coming in every week. I like this team, so it'll be interesting to see who wins this one. That's one I'm going to keep my eye on really close tonight. Again, a lot of good battles in Class A tonight.
We mentioned those two. I tell you what, it's just a huge night in the PD. We mentioned Dillon. We mentioned Manning. There's another one right here that really stands out. 6-1 Myrtle Beach, 7-0 South Florence.
Yeah, I bet before the beginning of the season, we wouldn't have been talking about that game as being as big. Myrtle Beach lost their first game of the season to Camden, have not lost since. They've been playing really well. South Florence is 7-0, number one team, defending state champion, but they got to figure out some things. Jaden Sellers he was their big offensive guy. He's probably out for the season. But they're going from a passing attack to more of a running attack right now. So it'll see how they transition into that in the latter part of the season. But they got a good defense. I mean, don't make any mistake about it. That defense was probably better this year than it was for South Florence last year when they won it all. But of course, they don't have Lenora Sellers at quarterback. But they got to find a way to get things done offensively. But I like Myrtle Beach. Malachi Washington has been their guy all season long. He's going to be their guy again tonight. And that's going to be a good one. South Florence, I'm sure that's going to be a packed house, a great atmosphere. And that's going to be a game that, again, I don't think a lot of people have bought into Myrtle Beach yet, but they've played really well since that Camden loss, and they got embarrassed against Camden, I think, a little bit, and they're a team now to be reckoned with on 4A, which is, I think, one of the most loaded brackets coming up in the playoffs.
We will get to some more of these. Chris, we're going to hold you around one more segment. There's a massive one featuring my alma mater here in the Midlands that we'll get to, and a few other huge games across the state tonight. Do you have time to give us a few more updates?
Yes, sir. I'm ready to roll. Let's keep it going.
There's plenty to get to. A big night of high school across the state. We've mentioned a couple of them. We'll get to a few more, including that monster one over in Lexington tonight. You're listening to Chris Deering joining us. Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
Here's what's coming up on the game.
Take a trip into the vault with Tommy Moody. Wednesday and Friday evenings at 6 p.m.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship is live at Colonial Life Arena Friday, October 20th. See Reggie Barnett.
Not sure why that was there. Sorry.
For the world title, plus the King of the Carolinas, Tony Loco Soto, and more. Get tickets at bkfc.com.
We need to get into this Bigfoot sighting out in Colorado, too. Jen, did you see that? The Bigfoot sighting, Jen? Did you see that out in Colorado? You hear me?
Say what?
The Bigfoot in Colorado? Have you
No,
not
what
seen
about
the Bigfoot sighting? Not. Have you seen it? Have you
No.
seen the video?
I guess I need to.
New video of a Bigfoot sighting. Type in Google Colorado Bigfoot train.
What's up, guys? My wife and I love saving money, especially.
Yeah, you gotta watch it.
I have to learn about Food Lion first.
Yep. I hate they took away that food line out by, I think it might have been a Piggly Wiggly, but out by the high school. That was.
He matches the landscape really well. Like his coloring is beautiful.
You got to go. I don't know how you saw it, but on Twitter, they've proven they've got a picture. Now, I don't know if it is, but it looks like. But on Twitter, they found a picture of there's some kind of I want to say like a tractor place, and their mascot is a Bigfoot. It's like Bigfoot, maybe it's Bigfoot Tractors or something like that.
Okay.
And it looks like somebody put the mascot. It looks like
he's-
somebody put.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say it looks like somebody put the little mascot thing on and just wandered around out there when the train was coming by.
That's kind of what I'm thinking they did, where it's just because he looks like he's really walking very human-like. I mean, granted, if it's an animal, it's walking upright, but it just seemed. I need to just keep zooming in.
Well, of course, they had a Bigfoot expert, whatever I was watching last night, come on and was like, oh, the way his head, apparently Bigfoot is not supposed to be able to turn his head like that. They have to, when they turn, they're supposed to have to turn their shoulders. I don't know. The expert.
Yeah. How do you become an expert in Bigfoot?
Well, you fail to find the Loch Ness monster, and when you fail to do that, you move on to Bigfoot.
Wow. Yeah, I'm kind of calling.
Yeah, no, again, yeah, it's some, yeah, like I said, it's some costume. I mean, they've proven that they've got the pictures of like whatever, I forget whatever company it is. But yeah, It's where the Colorado, Google Colorado train Bigfoot or whatever.
That's amazing.
Very smart. Now you'll have everybody purchasing tickets to ride that train, the Durango train, I think is what it was. I can't remember.
Oh yeah, probably.
Obviously, I watched it, and then they had the guy on TV last night. I love it when they get these guys on television to break it down.
Yeah, because there's nothing else to talk about.
The guy that's breaking it down, he looks like a Bigfoot. He spent way too much time analyzing Bigfoot. He started to become one.
Interesting. That's down.
I haven't heard back from Preston. I don't know if he's going to. The things I do want to get into the Bigfoot stuff. I forgot. I need to go when I go back to the Braves. Mention that we start talking about the Braves again. Mention not running home on the pass ball. All right, let's get back into some high school.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
7:35 on your Friday morning. Chris Deering joining us as he does each and every Friday for the high school highlights of the week. And let's come right back here to the Midlands, Chris. I assume this is where you may be at tonight because it's a monster one over between 7-0 White Knoll and my alma mater 6-1 Lexington.
Bill, this is a huge one tonight, and I would be there. Actually, I'm taking a Friday night off, which is very rare for me. Got some family coming into town for the game tomorrow between Florida and South Carolina, so sort of an oddity for me tonight, but it's okay. I'm going to be watching closely on Twitter, I'm sure. But, yeah, this is a monster game tonight. The winner of this has probably secured at least a tie for the region title, and if White Knoll can win, I think this gives them the region title regardless of what happens. They only have one game left after tonight. They don't have two like most teams. They only have River Bluff left on the schedule. But this is going to be a defensive battle. Whoever's offense can protect the football and score when given chances is going to win this one. But I don't expect a lot of points here, just like last week with White Knoll and Dutch Fork. I expect this one to be a low score, maybe in the teens. If somebody can get to 20, that'll be enough to win this one. I like, we already talked about that White Knoll defense, and only allowing one opponent over 200 yards this year is really huge. They got a Shrine Bowler in Jaden Kimball. Domenico Banks is another player. They got Caleb and Devin Geronimo in the secondary. That team is really talented. They fly all over the field defensively. And then offensively, Landon Sharp, Nick Pelham, the coach last week, said he would take, Landon Sharp over any quarterback in the state. He's only a junior. He lost one of his weapons last week during the game, Hassan Lee. He's a Shrine Bowl pick at tight end as well. So it'll be interesting to see if Lee can come back tonight. I talked to him after the game. He said he thought he would be okay. But he didn't play the second half last week against Dutch Fork. So if he's back, that helps the White Knoll offense. And then Lexington, they've only lost once this year. They're really good defensively. Matt McCauley, Christian Sexton, Montel Bird, those guys get after it up front. Taden Mines has played really well at quarterback. He's a 3-year starter. His top wideout, Brandon Cromer, he's been doing a lot of things. So that's going to be, again, an atmosphere I don't think is you won't find this atmosphere anywhere else in the Midlands tonight. That place will be packed. You better get there early if you're going. I wouldn't advise, hanging out till 7:15 trying to get into the stadium, because you'd probably be parking way down the road if you do something like that. But that's gonna be a great atmosphere. That's gonna be a big one tonight. And if White Knoll can win it, again, another statement game, and Lexington is in the top 10. Dutch Fork's not, but they beat the name. They beat Dutch Fork, and that got a lot of people's attention across the state. And if they beat Lexington tonight, that's going to be another attention getter.
Let's go just up the road a little bit to Hope on our live stream. I know she follows Saluda very closely, and Saluda's got a good one tonight against Silver Bluff.
Yeah, Saluda got smacked last week. They lost to Strong Thurman 48-3, and that's not a typical Saluda outcome. So I know they're looking to rebound, but they're having to rebound against a really good, we talked about defense, and Silver Bluff is really good defensively. Jaden Fuller is one of the top players in the state at his position at linebacker. So it'll be interesting to see if Saluda can rebound against a really good Silver Bluff team. They didn't play as well early in the season, even though they're 6-1, but they seem to have hit their stride. That's a tough region with Silver Bluff, Saluda, Strong Thurman, and if Saluda loses this one, they're looking at a third place finish and having to go on the road in the playoffs, and that'd be a tough out for somebody if that happens on their home field. But that's gonna be a good one over at Saluda. I'm sure that place is gonna be packed tonight as well, because they're not used to losing like they did last week to Strong Thurman, and they're looking for a bounce back win tonight.
Staying let's go to this one as I come across it real quick. Woodland 6-0 in the season. Hampton County 7-1.
That's another one that I had circled on for the statewide watch. Woodland got Cam Pringle, the big offensive lineman. They're another team, again, undefeated, but a little bit lower in the rankings than a lot of people would think. And I think it's because of the schedule they played. They hadn't really faced top-notch competition yet, but they're stepping it up tonight. I've seen Hampton County when they played Brooklyn Casey up here in Columbia a few weeks back, and that team's really talented. They got some good-looking guys. They're going to run the football. There's no mistaking what they want to do. They're going to run the football right at you and try to, wear you down a little bit. And Woodland, other than Pringle, I don't know much about them, and because they haven't played the top-notch schedule, so they're not getting the statewide headlines every week. So it'll be interesting to see if they can win this one again. A statement game. I hate to keep repeating that, but it's a statement game if they can win that one, because Hampton County's really good. They got a really good – they're ranked higher than Woodland right now, even with their one loss to Brooklyn Casey.
In the upstate tonight, battle of one-loss teams. Northwestern traveling to York.
Yeah, I thought Northwestern would be challenged a little bit more last week against Indian Land. They won that one very easily. York may be one of the surprise teams across the state with their one loss. But I think right now, you throw Irmo in the mix in Class 4A, Irmo, Northwestern, and South Florence. I don't know that anybody's playing better than those three in any part of the state. And I think that's going to be a tough test for York to go into Northwestern and win it. Or actually, York's at home. So that'll be big for them hosting that one. But we talked last week about the running back for Northwestern, Turbo Richards. He's, really good back, committed to Boston College, I think. And they're going to be a tough out. They run that hurry-up offense. They're scoring over 50 points a game. Their only loss is to a nationally ranked team out of North Carolina. So, I think Northwestern is playing as good as anybody in the state, and that's going to be a really tough tough time for York to try to win this one tonight.
Final one, and we'll let you out. TL Hanna, 7-1 on the season, traveling to unbeaten Hillcrest, 7-0.
Yeah, Hillcrest struggled last week, but they ended up with a win, and Hanna beat who did they beat last week? JL Mann. So that's going to be a good one in the upstate. Again, that one, the winner of that one takes the Inside Track to region title. And that, Hillcrest has been number 2 in the state behind Somerville most of the year. Those two have been, Somerville and Hillcrest have been 1 and 2 for a while now. And I really like that Hillcrest team. Bennett Swigert, who used to be on the staff down with Buddy Pugh at Sacramento State in his first year at Hillcrest. He's doing a really good job. And that team's got some playmakers as well. I went to that camp over the summer. Avery McFadden, their wide receiver, is really good. He's a strong bowl pick, and they can get the ball to him. And I like this Hillcrest team. Again, they're number 2 in the state for a reason, and I think they might finish this season undefeated.
Chris, fun night. Glad you're getting some family time, but fun night. Big games in the PD. We mentioned Lexington and White Knoll right here in Columbia in the Lexington area. And as we just mentioned, several in the upstate as well. Look forward to it. Always appreciate you joining us, and we will do it again next week as now the countdown is on to the playoffs.
Yep, sounds good. Y'all have a great weekend.
You too. Take care. Chris Deering joining us as he does each and every week. Make sure you follow him for all the great high school insight each and every week at cdeering82 is the way to do that. We'll come back. We'll wrap up hour number 2 on a Football Friday. You're listening to the early game.
Here's what's coming up on the game.
No touchdown yet in the Lawyer Lisa Special Teams Touchdown Contest. The pot is now up to $600. Head to 1075thegame.com to register.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 1075 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. On November 3rd, 1948, the Chicago Daily Tribune notoriously printed the premature and incorrect headline, Dewey beats Truman. At 3:33 a.m. yesterday, a pre-scheduled Los Angeles Times post on X promoted a story about Bob Costas believing the Dodgers could still extend the NLDS. Oh, one small problem, folks. Hours earlier, the Diamondbacks had eliminated them. Oops. I'm Boomer Esiason.
CBS Sports Radio. O'Reilly.
It's Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get up to a $25 gift card after rebate with the purchase of select Superstart batteries. Our professional parts people will test your old battery for free and recommend the right battery for your vehicle. For power, performance, and reliability, choose Superstart batteries only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Lowe's knows how to save pros time and money. Right now, buy one DeWalt 20-volt max Power Stack 5 amp hour battery kit. Get one select XR Bear tool up to a $249 value free. And earn 2 times MVP's bonus points on select Werner and Little Giant ladders. Lowe's knows pros. Offer valid through 10/18. While supplies last. Selection varies by location. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts. Valid through 10/27.
My name is Jim Conroy, and I am the CEO at Boot Barn. As we celebrate 45 years supporting the Western community, we have been reflecting on the American Cowboys' incredible influence on our nation. Through tenacity and grit, they persevere to keep the cowboy legacy alive while feeding families across the world. It speaks to the strength and spirit of our country, and we are honored to support this proud heritage. Thank you for sharing the West with us for 45 years.
Plus, text entitled with approved credit. Call 888-320-6359 for details. Never before and maybe never again. South Carolina's Kia Giant. JT's Kia goes where no Kia dealer has gone before. Save thousands off new Kias. Save thousands in interest. 3.75% Telluride, Sorrento's, Carnivals. Get 20% more for your trade. Up to $6,000 more. No payments till next year. And never, ever pay more than sticker. South Carolina's Kia Giant. JT'sKia.com.
Hi, everybody. This is Woody Wyndham here to talk about Pioneer Tree Service. Guy Gant's not with us anymore, but his girls are. Madison Gant just walked in. How you doing?
Doing great, Woody. How are you?
Good. Madison, I see your trucks everywhere for Pioneer Tree Service. Tell us some of the people you work with.
We've been very busy with residential and commercial customers.
So, Madison, you're doing the State House, Midlands Tech, City of Columbia, University of South Carolina. So you're going to want to call somebody you can trust, and that is the Gant girls at Pioneer Tree Service. And now there's a new little Gant girl, Dawson. We got all the Gant girls in the room.
We do tree removal, stump removal, tree pruning, tree trimming, tree thinning, tree cabling, and we will raise your tree canopy.
And no matter where you live, the Gant girls can get there. So, hey, Gant girls, how do they get in touch with you?
Call us today for a free estimate at 803-794-8253 or check us out online at pioneertreesc.com.
Sponsored by Brian's Heating and Cooling.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
$7:49 on a Friday morning. Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen, Preston Thorne off. I believe he is heading to the Grand Strand today to work on get the kids excited about reading. So Preston Thorne in the community doing big things. And as a reminder, you can always hear us in Myrtle Beach if you're ever traveling down that way or through the area. 100.3 is the way you can do that. And of course, you can also hear us on 100.5 The Game in Florence as well. Reminder, coming up tomorrow, well, obviously there's a football game at 3:30, but we will get going at 10:30 a.m. with our Gamecocks game day coverage over at Sound and Images on Bluff Road, right across from Williams-Brice Stadium. So you can tune in 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach if you're down in that area, or on right here, 107.5 The Game, to listen as we get you up and going, get you ready for kickoff. Coming up in the next hour, we'll let you listen to a little bit of Carolina calls from Shane Beamer as he updates the injury situation. We'll talk about what's going on with Juice Wells, who I do not anticipate playing this coming weekend. And quite frankly, not sure he will be back this year. I would personally, I would just say that I would be surprised. I would be a little surprised. I'm not saying it's not possible. I think it's a matter of how comfortable he feels. Can he come back and play with the broken foot? Yes, probably late in the season, but then you run the risk of re-injury. There was always, I'd heard the story years ago. It was the time Deebo Samuel broke his foot. I forget which year that was. Years run together as you get older, but that he was set to possibly return late in the season, was going through a practice and re-injured, re-aggravated the foot, much like Juice Wells did against Georgia. And I think at this time, what you've got here is a situation in which it's best. I'm trying to read a text message from Preston Thorne on his availability, but it's best that Juice Wells maybe just heal the foot. I do think, based on just some information I've received, and things change because it's only October the 13th, I don't think it is a foregone conclusion at all that Juice Wells, if he does not come back this season, does not return. And Shane Beamer alluded to that. He threw it into a sentence last night. Again, I'll let you listen to the injury portion of Juice Wells and the team as a whole. Sounds fairly healthy going into the Florida game. But coming up in the next hour, we'll let you listen to a lot of Shane Beamer and what he had to say last night during Carolina calls. The other thing from last night, great night of sports. Unfortunately, if you're an Atlanta Braves fan, not the best night, as the Braves just can't get it done. And as I mentioned to start the program, situation in which, man, been a Braves fan. Braves don't really affect my day-to-day life, but I've been a Braves fan, been a ton of Braves games. And since 92, I feel like what happened last night is just the epitome of the Atlanta Braves. Yeah, we had 2 seasons in which they went and won the World Series, but how many seasons have we seen with that incredible pitching staff, Maddox and Glavine and Smoltz, and the hitters, Chipper and Andrew, and all that encapsulates the great 90s and even 2000s Braves teams, only to come up short when it matters the most in the playoffs. And last night just seemed like another extension of that. And, this team is built right now. They've got to do a few more things to bolster the pitching staff. You've got a guy there in Spencer Strider who can be a long-term guy, can make some decisions on a few other guys. But the truth of the matter is that, once again, the Braves, for 162 games, the best team in baseball, put them into a 3, 5, 7-game series, can't get it done. And last night, I don't know, as the play happened, top of the seventh, Ronald Acuna at the plate, bases loaded, 2 outs, and passed ball. I could have the runner from third come home. I thought he could. And that obviously would have changed the dynamics of the game in that situation. You know, then you'd have 2 outs, second and third. I assume second and third. I assume everybody would have advanced. But second and third, 2 outs, and Acuna at the plate. Now a base hit ties the ball game, maybe even puts you in the lead 4-3. That's going to be something that the Braves, I think Braves fans and the Braves as a whole, are going to have to revisit, or, they're going to have to live with basically for a couple months until you can get back to spring training. That was a tough break. Throw in the fact that the Braves just crushed the ball all season long, led the majors in home runs, and just 4 home runs in this series. Couldn't get the job done. It's going to be difficult. That's going to be a difficult one for the Braves and Braves fans to swallow now as you'll sit home the rest of October. Then on top of that, last night, that was the down part. The great part of last night, West Virginia and Houston. What a football game. What a final 20 seconds. And we'll let you listen also to the ending of that game coming up in the next hour. It was a fantastic, fantastic finish. A Hail Mary coming from Houston on the final play. Houston escapes 41-39 against West Virginia. West Virginia was 4-1 on the season. It was the Dana Holgorsen Bowl, and yet Houston able to pull it out. Fantastic night of sports last night. One other note from last night, Gigi Jackson in an exhibition game playing for the Memphis Grizzlies. He shot the ball a lot. He took a lot of shots last night, but 24 points for Gigi Jackson last night as he was fantastic for the Grizzlies. I'll tell you a little bit about that also coming up in hour number 3. So we got a lot to get to. One more hour to do it. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
1075 The Game, broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Discover Herndon Certified, Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence, knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Trane heating and cooling systems are tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit TraneInfo.com to find your local independent Trane dealer. TraneInfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
Welcome to BreezeLine, where next level internet speeds means next level productivity. Choose BreezeLine and go boss mode with next level internet and faster speeds backed by a fiber-powered network. Terms and conditions apply. Go to BreezeLine.com to learn more.
Life matters. In 1777, George Washington settled into winter camp with his 11,000 soldiers. A mountain peak bordering on the high ground was called Mount Misery. The name seemed prophetic, for the men nearly died, and the deprivations they endured would be legendary. But given time, the camp would be known not as Mount Misery, but as Valley Forge. The worst time in Washington's career became synonymous with his greatest victory, the moral victory of that winter in Valley Forge. Don't be surprised if some of your toughest days become known as your greatest days as well. Life has a way of turning adversity into something truly magnificent. Speaking of Israel's dark days in slavery, the Bible says, the Egyptians brought great heartache to God's people, but the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. This is Pastor Stephen Chitty reminding you that life matters, and so do you.
Go to clcolumbia.com for in-person and live streaming service.
All right. 1 more hour. We got our top 10. Oh, which is really my favorite part of the morning here.
If you're looking for the latest athletic shoe styles from famous name brands, go straight
Oh, no, I didn't realize Boston College quarterback running into the referee. And referee laughing about it. That's always cute. Whoop. There's the incredibly bad interception by Mac Jones.
We are the Veterans Health Administration, and our hands provide life-changing care to over 9 million veterans across more than 1,200 facilities nationwide. Join hands with us to make an impact in your community. Learn more at vacareers.va.gov.
Oh. No, and the Miami play is.
By the way, you guys are doing the Steve Smith thing, which was good.
Southbound at Percival Road and Spring Hill Road at Augusta Highway. We do have a report of an accident there, so be careful this morning. Looking for a high today of about, well, let's pick a number. We'll say 73. And we should see some evening storms or evening showers. 80 tomorrow with some morning showers. Right now, though, it's 58 at the early game.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
This is defensive lineman Alex Hunley, and you're listening to Home of the Gamecocks 107.5 The Game.
A Cumulus media station. Football Friday.
Sponsored by Brian's Heating and Cooling.
Brian's Heating and Cooling, where they take your comfort personally. Give them a call for all your commercial and residential comfort needs. 803-796-1788 or briansheatingandcooling.com.
Antoine Duchesneau breaks away at the 30, 20, going for the pylon at the 5, dives for it. Call it. Touchdown, Carolina.
Football Friday on your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Friday morning. Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen, Preston Thorne down in Myrtle Beach at the elementary schools, getting the kids fired up to read. So Jen and I will get you through one more hour. If you don't like me, totally understand. It's perfectly understandable. But I got good news for you. I got a reason you should listen. I got good news. Tomorrow, as you know, South Carolina, Florida, sold out. No tickets. No tickets anywhere. No tickets available. Except right here on 107.5 The Game, or 100.3 The Game, or 100.5 The Game, whichever station, whichever one. Good news. And guess what? Coming up in about 30 minutes, we're going to give you a chance to win a pair of tickets. It is the Carolina Honda Powerhouse ticket giveaway. You can call in. We'll take a caller. Jen will pick the number, and we will have a chance for you to win a pair of tickets coming up at 8:32-ish this morning. We'll put a lot of pressure on Jen to not mess that up, to not forget, to remind me, but we will give you a chance to win tickets to South Carolina, Florida. Sold out tomorrow. Sold out, 3:30 start time. You can get out there early. Reminder, we'll get our pregame going at 10:30 live from Sound and Images on Bluff Road. It's going to be a good day tomorrow. It's got a little weather should be cool. They're calling for just a little bit of rain, maybe early on. Tell you what, it's going to be something tomorrow. I think it is going to be an electric atmosphere. And I think what happens is when you get a little anxiety, and that's where I think South Carolina's fan base is. You can't lose this one. This is a big game. It either goes extremely positive, everybody gets really fired up, and the adrenaline is flowing, and you get that great tailgate time where you can mix in the nice cool hours of the morning and the early afternoon hours, and however it is you like to tailgate, you can thoroughly enjoy it. You can get in the stadium, and you're not overly tailgated, if you will, or you shouldn't be overly tailgated. You're just at optimum level to go in and wave your white towel and jump around the sandstorm and hug on the family that you've sat by for years upon years upon years. It's going to be a great environment there, and I think that is a big reason South Carolina will pull out the victory tomorrow. But again, coming up here at about 8:30, probably a few minutes after, about 8:32, 8:34, we're going to give you a chance to win a pair of tickets to South Carolina, Florida tomorrow. It's the Carolina Honda Powerhouse ticket giveaway. So make sure you hang around for that. 803-404-6100. I mentioned it last night on Carolina Calls. Shane Beamer gave an injury report. Here is Shane Beamer last night talking about the injury report for South Carolina. Here's what he had to say.
Previously, we've mentioned that we'll be out for a while. We'll be back this week. The only injury that occurred this week in practice is Jackson Hughes, who has played quite a bit of offensive tackle for us. I guess in the North Carolina game, he played the majority of the game and is in that rotation. He got banged up a little bit in practice a couple days ago. He won't play this week, but we're in pretty good shape from a health standpoint. Now we just gotta keep that as we go down the stretch here.
TJ Sanders, Nick Barrett banged up a little bit in the Tennessee game, but it was just banged up. I suspect that they're okay. Is that correct?
They are good. They've both had really good weeks, and the week off did them well, and they've looked great in practice this week. And it gave, again, Boogie Huntley and Tonky Hemingway gave them an opportunity to really get rested up and healed up as much as they can, too.
Juice doing overall?
He's doing okay, working hard to get back, and who knows when that'll be. Could be Saturday, could be next month, could be next year. I don't know at this point. But he did see a specialist in Charlotte on Tuesday. Everything with the specialist went great. Saw that the injury is healing fantastically. I don't know, is that a word? Really, really well.
It is.
Okay, fantastically. So it's really healing at a great rate. And for Juice, he's very involved in what we're doing, and it's just going to be when he feels like he can be 100%, and we feel good putting him out there. But he's getting closer and closer, hopefully.
The injury report is brought to you by Prisma Health. Prisma Health is proud to be the official healthcare system and team physicians of the Gamecocks. Backstreet's Grill, that's where we are tonight. Host of Carolina Calls is proud partner of Gamecock Athletics.
That's Todd Ellis, Shane Beamer last night on the call at Backstreet's Bar and Grill over there, and you heard Shane breaking down. Did you catch that on Juice Wells? Could be Saturday, could be next month, could be next year. I said it previously at the end of the last hour. My personal opinion is I don't anticipate Juice Wells being back. I could be wrong. I don't anticipate him being back, but that's going to be his. It is possible. Let's just say that. It is very possible depending on how that thing heals and then what his personal preference is late in the season. If he wants to come back, he does have a year that he could come back, and I think you could conceivably see him shut it down if by the end of October this is not healed the way he wanted to. I don't think if you come back for this year thinking you needed to show something, whatever was on that draft grade report card that he received from the NFL last December, whatever that was, and you thought I need to come back to the University of South Carolina. No offense to Juice, aside from one great catch and run in the Georgia game, I don't think he showed it, right? Like, there's nothing there that NFL scouts will go, okay, yeah, you look better doing this, or yeah, I can see it now. This would be the equivalent of just taking the year off. You haven't proven to anybody. So I would think there's a good chance, unless Juice Wells just, understandably so, he's been in college for a long time, just doesn't want to do it anymore, wants to go start his professional career. There's a good chance he could come back. And if you look at South Carolina next year, trying to find more playmakers at the wide receiver position to try to get more guys that are experienced, because look, Omega Blake, is developing nicely. Tyshawn Russell is a guy that I'd like to see a little bit more from starting this week. Maybe he gets his snaps upped a little bit. Elijah Caldwell's another freshman. Landon Sampson's a younger guy that is obviously kind of needs to progress a little bit. Kylik Horton is a young guy that I know they were talking about was a developmental player. Man, you get Juice Wells back next year to go along with potentially Mazio Bennett, another incoming freshman. Maybe you can flip Bray Staley out of Strawn Thurman. Interesting to see where they would go, but we'll continue to monitor that situation. Again, just my personal opinion. I don't think you will see Juice Wells back this year. You got to get that foot. Look, bottom line, whether you go into the NFL or whether you want to come back, foot's got to get healthy. The foot's got to get healthy. That's the main concern for Juice Wells right now, and I would be very surprised if he did indeed come back, and I would be a little surprised if he wasn't back in 2024. 803-404-6100. Shane Beamer also last night talking about the keys to the game. Obviously a huge game. Here's what Shane Beamer said last night. That's not little bunny foo-foo ears I'm giving you, Jen. It's 22.
I'm also not giving you the, hey, you're number one.
I know you were giving me, hey, you're number two. You're a number two.
You're number three. You don't care at all.
Here is Shane Beamer talking about keys to the game last night.
Defensively, they're athletic. They're really, really, really big up front. They've got some good young freshmen they're playing, but at the defensive tackle position, they're huge. And we got to do a good job of controlling them up front. Certainly, it starts with stopping the run. We've got to do a better job of that, without a doubt. And then, we've talked to our players about it. The situational football, third down and red zone will be critical. Staying on the field and scoring touchdowns in the red zone and keeping them from scoring touchdowns. They're I think in SEC games, we have the top red zone offense in the SEC, and I believe they have the top red zone defense. So that'll be a big battle in a game within the game, and then third down as well, without a doubt. And then we've talked to our players, tackling certainly. You watch the games that they've struggled in, Utah and Kentucky. Utah and Kentucky did a really, really, really good job of tackling.
Yep.
And we'll have to tackle, which certainly coming off a bye week is a concern because you don't want to be rusty from a tackling standpoint, and hopeful that we won't be. But tackling and certainly situational football will be key on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, we don't probably talk enough about tackling with Preston Thorne and the fact that South Carolina simply cannot have missed tackles when they have opportunities tomorrow, whether it be in the backfield or at the line of scrimmage. You cannot let the running backs for Florida get away from you. And quite frankly, we also know South Carolina has not generated a ton of pressure on quarterbacks this season. When you have a chance to put Graham Mertz in the ground for a sack, you have to get him. You can't have Mertz slip away from you. Mertz isn't exactly the most agile running quarterback out there. You can't have him slip away from you and pick up, say, 5 or 6 yards up the middle when you could have caused a 3, 4, 5 yard loss. And South Carolina's tackling at times this year has been stellar. At times it's not been. And guys have turned short gains into longer gains simply because South Carolina has not been good. But you can't let Montrell Johnson Jr. or Trevor Etienne break a tackle and turn what may have been a 1 or 2 yard gain into a 7 or 8 yard gain. And that's going to be a big part about it tomorrow. 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh. And we'll let you listen to some more Shane Beamer, and we will look again at the weekend that will be. 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game.
Here's what's coming up on the game.
Want to win tickets to the Florida-South Carolina game Saturday, October 14th? Just go to Gamecock Central online to register.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
It's going to feel great this weekend. Weather is going to be absolutely phenomenal. You're going to enjoy tailgating, but all that is coming to a close. We're heading toward winter. No, this isn't Game of Thrones. We're heading toward winter. Winter is coming, and you know what? You need to make sure your heating unit is in tip-top shape. And AAA Heating and Air right now is offering complimentary unit checkups to all senior citizens in their service area. AAA Heating and Air looking out for people 62 years and older. So if you have a parent, a relative, someone you know that's 62 years or older, contact AAA Heating and Air today, 803-677-1500, and schedule your appointment. You just need to make sure you tell them you heard it here with Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game. Again, if you're 62 years of age or older, or if you know someone 62 years of age and older, contact AAA Heating and Air for a complimentary checkup on their heating and air unit. 803-677-1500. Again, when you make that phone call, make sure you tell them you heard it here on 107.5 The Game with Bill Gunner.
Fall is here, and with it comes all the traditional family outings like tailgating, mountain and beach adventures, and road trips to grandma's over the holidays. Wherever you go, go with great gas mileage, safety, technology, comfort, and style in a new Honda from Honda of Columbia.
Yeah, they moved to the Sound and Images just down Bluff Road going back towards Olympia. Like if you're going down Bluff, it's on your left. They got a big old stage out there and stuff. They still do the pregame, but they don't do it at Gamecock Park anymore. They moved it to Sound and Images. So, yeah. Danny, I'll check, but I think as of when we had what's his name? We had David Waters on the other day. I thought he said he expected. I'd have to go back and listen, but I swore. Oh, you got me looking now at what Billy Napier may have said last night on his call-in show, but I thought for sure David Waters said that Trevor Etienne will indeed be playing. Let's see if they got an injury, Thursday evening injury update here.
That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Let's get your tax problem solved for good. Call today. You'll be glad you did.
I don't see it updated.
For the first time ever, and maybe the last time, JT is taking up to $12,000 off new Ram trucks.
Well, they rebuild their captains.
Plus new Jeeps up to $11,000 off. Wrangler, Grand Cherokee, Gladiator, and JT's offering you up to 20% more.
I don't see anything. Wait.
More. 12 grand off new Rams, 11 grand off new Jeeps at JT's Jeep Ram Lexington. JT's Jeep Ram.com.
What if Billy Napier has 2 press conferences during the week? Instead of Wednesday, Billy Napier.
The Midlands has depended on Todd & More. That's right, featuring 500 styles of name brand athletic shoes for men, women, and children. Plus, they have those hard-to-find sizes.
I was looking to answer the question, but
Right now, you have to go check out their great selection of On Cloud shoes, designed to be the lightest, fully cushioned running shoe on the market, with soft landings followed by explosive takeoffs. It's like running on clouds.
let's look. Let's see if there's an update on it. Yeah, I thought. Yeah, full speed. Yeah. Okay. Yep, 1 day ago. Back. Yeah, so Etienne's playing this weekend. Yeah, he's back. 2 articles, Sports Illustrated and Gainesville Sun, saying he's back. So yeah, that's what David Waters said. Didn't think I was crazy. Or relatively speaking. Let's play 39 coming in. Houston Hail Mary. 39. Oh, yeah.
This morning, we are looking at Spring Hill Road at Augusta Highway. There's an accident there. And I-77 southbound on Percival Road, that is in cleanup stages this morning. Should be clear today, but then maybe this evening, a few showers. All right, today, 73, a little bit breezy, and 80 tomorrow with just the morning showers that should be clearing out before game time. On Sunday, partly cloudy, 72. Being said, it's not a bad start right now. And overcast, 60 on the early game.
Football Friday
Sponsored by Brian's Heating and Cooling.
on your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Pass completions in a row. This will be his last, and it's for the football game. If he can get it off. To the end zone. Tipped, and he caught it. Touchdown.
Holy Toledo.
Stephon Johnson.
That was the call last night. West Virginia, Houston, wild finish. A great game, really. I don't know how many people with the Braves playing actually took time I had the 2 TV setup going, Braves on the big one, had the West Virginia Houston game going on the other one, and it was back and forth. High scoring game, obviously, 80 points. Garrett Green for West Virginia threw for 391 yards. Again, it was a fun Thursday night game, especially probably if you did not have a rooting interest in it. West Virginia scored to take the lead with 12 seconds left on a 50-yard pass from Garrett Green. It was kind of a slant over the middle, as it appeared West Virginia was just trying to get down the field to set up for a game-tying field goal. Instead, they hit a 50-yard pass with 12 seconds left to take a 39-35 lead. Everybody was going crazy. When I say going crazy, West Virginia would get an unsportsmanlike penalty during that touchdown 2-point celebration. And what would happen is West Virginia would be backed up to the 20-yard line to kick off. That set up Houston to be able to get a good return and get the ball out near midfield, which obviously if you were backed up, if you were at the 25-yard line and you had to go 75 yards in one play, it would have made things entirely different. Instead, Houston didn't have to do that, and they throw a 49-yard Hail Mary touchdown pass was the final one. They had started. They went 2 plays, 57 yards, but they throw a 49-yard Hail Mary touchdown pass, and Houston wins 41-39. Again, a fun game last night. Houston now 3-3. That was their first Big 12 victory. So congratulations to the Cougars there. Tomorrow we get going noon, and again, it's not a great. You're not having the best of noon games. Georgia should smash Vanderbilt. Michigan's at home against Indiana. That should be a beating. Ohio State on the road at Purdue on Peacock, and Florida State, number 4 Florida State, at home against Syracuse. There is one that I think you keep an eye on, noon, ESPN, Alabama hosting Arkansas in that contest. Razorbacks are scuffling. We'll just say that. They're scuffling. 2-4 right now. They won their first 2, beat up on Western Carolina and Kent State, and have since dropped 4 straight to BYU, LSU on a last-second field goal, Texas A&M by 12, and Ole Miss last week by 7. Sam Pittman, I don't think they'd no way they'd fire him, but certainly his seat heating up a little bit with this potential 2-5 start. Keep an eye on that. Arkansas again on the road though at Alabama. Expect Alabama to come out of that with a victory. 3:30 slate, a little bit better. You got one great game and one very intriguing game. Oregon at Washington is the marquee game tomorrow. Number 8 Oregon, number 7 Washington. Washington was, I guess you would label him my dark horse to make the college football playoff. I'm a huge Kalen DeBoer fan. I think I don't know whether he's going to settle in up there in Seattle at Washington and stay there for a long time, or like, let's say, if that other game that I'm about to talk about goes poorly for Texas A&M, does Texas A&M throw all that oil money at Kalen DeBoer and this high-powered offense? 56 points against Boise, 43 against Tulsa, 41 against Michigan State, 59 against Cal, 31 against Arizona. Washington can light up the scoreboard. Michael Penix Jr. is getting a ton of Heisman love. If Caleb Williams was to falter right now, you'd pretty much have Penix Jr. as the guy that would be considered the front runner. Penix Jr. on the season, 1,999 yards. He's completing 74.7% of his passes, 16 touchdowns to just 2 interceptions. You got him going against Bo Nix tomorrow and Oregon. And Dan Lanning doing a good job there with the Ducks. Ducks undefeated on the season. They roll in again, ranked number 8 here in this particular poll in the AP top 25, 5-0, 2-0 in the conference. Oregon putting up points of their own. They're not exactly a bad offensive unit there after losing their offensive coordinator, Kenny Dillingham, to become head coach at Arizona State. Oregon this year, 81 on Portland State, 38 points put up against Texas Tech, 55 against Hawaii, 42 on Colorado, and 42 on Stanford. If you want a really fun game to kind of have on the second TV while you're watching South Carolina and Florida, Oregon-Washington would be it. The other 3:30 game that's, I think from an SEC standpoint, even from a South Carolina standpoint, because you're going to play Texas A&M coming up here in a few weeks, is Texas A&M traveling to Tennessee. Tennessee had a bye week, much like South Carolina did, coming off of the game 2 weeks ago. Tennessee now up to number 19 in the polls, still in contention for the SEC Eastern Division Championship in that final year of divisions. Texas A&M, on the other hand, it feels so shaky right now out there in College Station. 4-2, not a bad record to start the season. Have the wins over New Mexico, Louisiana Monroe, Auburn, and Arkansas, but that really ugly loss to Miami down in Coral Gables, 48-33, and last week not able to get over the hump against Alabama, 26-20. Max Johnson still at quarterback there. Is Connor Weigman out for the season? It just, for everything Texas A&M is investing in that program and the way they're recruiting, it feels like you expect more. And if you can't beat Miami on the road, if you can't get by Alabama at home, I mean, Alabama's still a playoff contender. So when I say this, don't get me wrong, but this was one of the weaker Alabama teams I feel like we've seen in a while, with question marks and the ability to go and get some victories. Alabama was still able to gut that game out, and it just feels like that is the deficiency of the Jimbo Fisher era at Texas A&M, where when you need a victory, when you need that statement victory, sure, they've picked up some wins over Alabama, or they picked up that one win, 2 years ago, I believe, there in College Station, but that team was scuffling then. This team, it just feels like if they lose this game on the road at Tennessee, it pretty much ends their season. They are technically, much like Tennessee, still in the hunt for the SEC Western Division Championship because they have just one conference loss, but they'll need to run out the table, beat LSU, hope LSU beats Alabama, creates all kind of chaos there in the West. If they lose to Tennessee, they go into a bye week, and it just feels like things would be really uncertain out there. Not that Jimbo Fisher would be fired. It's just where, with Texas coming in, where is that program? Where is Texas A&M heading? So that's your major 2, 3:30 games, and both of them should be very entertaining. I got Tennessee in that game. By the way, I think Tennessee, I think Josh Heupel, just whatever happened down in Gainesville with Tennessee, just an ugly game. I don't think Tennessee is world beaters, but whatever happened down in Gainesville several weeks ago between the Gators and the Vols, unexplainable, just one of those days. I think Tennessee's better than that. I think Tennessee's better than Florida by a wide margin, just, again, an odd night. And in this situation, I think Tennessee gets the job done tomorrow against Texas A&M. I would lay the 3 points that Tennessee is currently favored by and run to the bank. One other matchup, one other game featuring a ranked team tomorrow, 2 other games, but one a conference win. Kansas, number 23 in the country, at Oklahoma State, 3:30 FS1, and Penn State, non-conference matchup before next week's battle with Ohio State. Penn State hosting Massachusetts tomorrow, 3:30 Big Ten Network. Sliding into the night games there, Washington State and Arizona, Pac-12 Network. You won't know where to find it. You won't be able to find it. That is a matchup of a ranked game. Louisville and Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh tomorrow night, 6:30 CW Network. Probably can't find that channel either. ESPN, 7 o'clock, Auburn and LSU. We'll talk a little bit about this game and the other night games when we come back. We'll get into what South Carolina and Florida are doing. We'll let you hear a little bit more audio on the Gators from Shane Beamer. A lot to do, 1 hour to do it. You're listening to, and I should mention, when we come back, get those dialing fingers ready. When we come back from the break, we will give you a chance to win a pair of tickets for the Carolina Honda Powerhouse ticket giveaway to South Carolina.
Look at you, the big promo guy.
Now look at me doing radio professionally like I've done it for all of 7 weeks, not 7 years. I have little
I
clue.
don't think you can really give yourself 7 weeks.
7 days.
7 hours, not even, no.
We go to break. It's the early game.
The game will be at the beach, in the PD, and the Midlands. That almost covers the whole Palmetto State. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
The Mega Millions jackpot for Friday is $48 million. Be sure to stop by your local South Carolina Education Lottery retailer and get your ticket today. See educationlottery.com for jackpot odds and a store near you.
If you have tax problems, it can affect all aspects of your life. Now's the time to do something about it. Hi, I'm local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. Everyone at our firm truly believes we can improve the lives of our clients by eliminating the stress and worry of IRS tax problems. We're a local South Carolina law firm dedicated to resolving your tax problems for good. Simply put, we solve tax problems. So if you're facing IRS tax liens, bank or wage levies, or have years of unfiled tax returns, come meet with us in person. Your first visit is free and confidential. We'll show you how we will solve your problem and how much it'll cost. So don't put it off any longer. Call us now at 803-771-9800. That's 803-771-9800. Or go to our website at irsproblemsolving.com. It is time to do something about that tax problem. Your solution is right here in South Carolina. So hire a South Carolina attorney. Hire me, John Ecton.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? I'm Dr. Mark Bentley with Columbia Secret for Weight Loss, and I know the secret. Our unique weight loss program makes it easy to lose weight, get healthy, and get your energy back naturally, safely, and effectively. If you'd like to lose unhealthy fat without counting points or calories, no exercising, no prepackaged or boxed meals, no surgery, and no hypnosis, call my office now at 803-824-4210.
Columbia's Secret for Weight Loss changed my life. I've lost over 50 pounds, and now I have metabolic flexibility. To me, this program is more than just about fat loss. It's about a lifestyle. Throughout this program, the guidance and accountability help create a pathway to a healthier, better me.
Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month. That's a half a pound to a pound per day. For your free private weight loss consultation, call 803-824-4210. That's 803-824-4210. Or ColumbiaSecretForWeightLoss.com.
Have you heard about the new 16-month certificate State Credit Union is offering? It comes with a fantastic annual percent yield of 4.73%. You heard it right, 4.73% APY. To open your new 16-month certificate, visit one of State Credit Union's 19 full-service branches. For a list of locations, visit scscu.com/locations. Limited time offer, $500 opening deposit required. State Credit Union is federally insured by the NCUA.
Don't miss Zero's Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning's thrilling fall sale. Call now and mention me, Bill Gunner, at 1075 The Game to get 3 rooms cleaned for $129. Or schedule online, ZeroSColumbia.com. Zero, spell it backwards or forwards, is the right way to clean.
Are you a Carolina girl? Scott here with Gamecock Traditions, letting you know about our stylish glitter, repeat designs, and black rhinestone shoes in sizes 6 through 10. We have Campus Couture, Pressbox, Aaron Andrews, Comfort Wash Tees, and many other brands to help you look great going to the game. Top off your outfits with our teletie bracelet, hair ties, or hair clips, or choose from over 100 styles of earrings, bracelets, or necklaces. 5134 Sunset Boulevard or at the Village at Sandhills, or shop GamecockTraditions.com. Gamecock Traditions, your Gamecock fashion headquarters.
Let's take second title with approved credit card at 841-7640 for details. For the first time ever, and maybe the last time, JT is taking up to $12,000 off new Ram trucks at JT's Jeep Ram Lexington. Plus new Jeeps up to $11,000 off. Wrangler, Grand Cherokee, Gladiator. And JT's offering you up to 20% more for your trade. Up to $6,000 more. 12 grand off new Rams, 11 grand off new Jeeps at JT's Jeep Ram Lexington. JT'sJeepRam.com. Ram Power Days.
Got a tank?
Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line.
Firehouse Subs, founded by firemen.
803-404-6100.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
1075 The Game. 1075 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 1075 The Game.
And take a look at the traffic conditions. Only one thing to let you know about, and it's Columbia College Drive at Arrow Road. It's going to be nice today, a little bit overcast. Showers this evening, though, and a high of 73. Those morning showers will lead to lend themselves to some cloudy conditions tomorrow, and a high of 80, 72 for Sunday. But right now it's cloudy and 60 on early days.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
On your home of the Gamecocks. In Columbia, 1075 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence. Call now to snag Gamecock football tickets. Sponsored by Carolina Honda Powerhouse, your local Honda superstore for motorcycles, ATVs, side-by-sides, scooters, and generators. CarolinaHonda.com.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
803-404-6100. 803-404-6100. Whether you're in Myrtle Beach, whether you're in Florence, or if you're right here in Columbia, wherever you're listening, call now. Give yourself a chance to win some tickets. We will take caller number 7. Let's go 7. Make it complicated on Jen.
Exactly. And you know what? Does not look like anybody is interested in the tickets.
Yeah, all 9 lines are already
blowing
keep
up.
calling. Just keep calling. Just get yourself in there, folks. Just get yourself in there. 803-404-6100, otherwise known as 803-404-6100. Win yourself a pair of tickets. Sold out game tomorrow over at Williams-Brice Stadium. Should be a really good time. Hopefully it will be. We'll get to that a little bit more here in just a few minutes. Let you listen to some Shane Beamer audio as Jen gets set to take a phone call to give a lucky person this morning a chance to win tickets. We'll be giving tickets away throughout the day, so keep listening. Reason for you to keep listening throughout the day. Mentioned that 7 o'clock game tomorrow night, Auburn, LSU. Kind of interesting for LSU because I really liked the Tigers going into the season. That was my pick to win the SEC West. And LSU, they rallied last week. 49-39 they win that game in Missouri by 10, and that's not really indicative of how that game was playing out. LSU was in a lot of trouble early on, falling behind 22-7. It looked like I thought Missouri was going to actually run away from LSU early on, and then they were able to string together some touchdowns. Jaden Daniels got really hot there in the second half, ended up being 15 of 21 for 259 yards, and LSU would score with 2:58 remaining to take a 42-39 lead, and then go on to have a pick six with 34 seconds to go to give them the 49-39 victory. LSU needs tomorrow night's game. Not just they're favored. They should win. Auburn's still trying to put all the pieces together for Hugh Freeze. Like I just mentioned with Texas A&M, like I mentioned with Tennessee, LSU's still in the hunt for the West, and they obviously get to play Alabama coming up, but this is a game that I think they need to show maybe a little bit of dominance, and so that'll be one of your 7 o'clock games tomorrow night, 803-404-6100. Congratulations to Beth Balknight. Won the tickets there, wins a pair of tickets. Keep listening all day. We'll give you some more tickets as we roll through the day, but congratulations, Beth Balknight, as she wins the pair of tickets to South Carolina, Florida tomorrow afternoon, 3:30 at Williams-Brice Stadium. And we'll talk
But definitely more tickets giveaway this out, like you were saying, throughout the day, a few more in the other shows.
Yes. And
so as the phones are still ringing and people are excited.
Staying on hold does not work in that manner. That's not how you win. You got to call back later, but congratulations to Beth there for
Good job, guys.
winning some tickets. Let's hear a little bit more from Shane Beamer. In particular, what changed for Spencer Rattler after Florida? God, that was a bad game last year. 38-6. South Carolina doesn't score an offensive touchdown. They have to use a fake punt. Spencer Rattler, after that, was absolutely dominant against Tennessee, Clemson, even in the bowl game, and has played really well this year. Here's Shane Beamer talking about what really changed This is last night on Carolina Calls.
I think I know it's very broad, but I just think he's more comfortable here, and he's more comfortable with the people around him on the offense. He's gained confidence, obviously, with the way that he's playing, and each performance he has, he gets more and more confident. An understanding of what we're doing offensively, schematically each week, and he's put the work in as well. Not that he didn't last year, but I mean, I sit in those quarterback meetings each day with him and Dow, and he's on top of everything, sitting in there and writing everything down and asking great questions. He's just got a great command of what we're asking him to do offensively. He's got great confidence because of the way that he's playing, and I think he's just got a comfort level where he's just out there having fun, and he believes that good things are going to happen when he's out there, and he's exactly right. And he's a mature kid. He's a year older is the other thing too. And his poise and his confidence and his maturity continue to show.
South Carolina will need Spencer Rattler to have a big game. Protect the football, take a few shots, get a few shots from Dow Loggins, get the ball, push the ball down the field and get it to Xavier Legette, get it to Trey Knox. You got to have those guys step up for you. South Carolina's at its best when Spencer Rattler is just humming and leading the offense. There's no question about it. That's how it's going to be. Nothing's going to change in the bye week. South Carolina might have success running the football tomorrow. They might be able to get to 120, maybe even 140 yards. Who knows? But what we've seen the first 5 games, South Carolina's not going to come out tomorrow and magically turn into the 1980 Nebraska Cornhuskers and just start mauling people up front and running the football. With that being said, Shane Beamer talked about his 2 young freshmen last night, Tree and Trovon Ball. Both guys important to the offensive line, developing. You're seeing, I do think Tree Babalade is one of the bigger storylines of the first 5 games. Coming in, true freshman. He's been good in pass protection. He struggled against Tennessee. He's been good in pass protection, but he struggled in run blocking. But Shane Beamer talked about his 2 young offensive linemen last night. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they are starting right guard and starting left tackle right now, and expect them to continue to get better as the year goes. And I think both those guys would tell you is they've got the consistency and the technique are all things that they need to continue to clean up, along with all of our guys. It's not just them, but I think all of our freshmen are realizing, in high school, I gave the example to our team. I don't want to criticize any high school program, but there were certainly some high school guys or high school teams where you knew on a Friday night, no matter what you did, you were going to come out and beat the other team by 28 points just by showing up. Well, it don't work like this at this level. And every Saturday, you got to lay it on the line. You've got to give your best. You've got to play with great technique, great effort, and you can't take plays off. And those guys are certainly learning that on the fly this year, along with all of our other freshmen as well. But they continue to get better and feel like they, have had a good week of practice, and hopefully that'll show on Saturday. And that's what we've told the team about too. I mean, you gain confidence with the way you practice during the week, and then the players alongside you gain confidence by seeing you practice well during the week. So let's all have better practice habits. Not that we've been bad, but let's be even better in practice, and that will allow us the opportunity to hopefully play even cleaner, more consistent football on Saturdays.
Those 2 players in particular are 2 guys I am very interested in seeing tomorrow. Because Shane Beamer's team after a bye week, we talked about this. Shane Beamer's team after a bye week currently has been playing really good football. As a matter of fact, in the regular season, if you want to throw the bowl game in there, but after a bye week, Shane Beamer's teams, and this is for the remainder of the season, Shane Beamer's teams are 4-2. They lost on the road at Missouri in 2021, 31-28, and obviously they lost that game to Clemson 30-0 in 2021. Last year, we know they finished out the season strong. The way they played, the way they performed, and that's I had that stat wrong, by the way, but that's something that's important to remember. Is South Carolina, by and large, seems to play better post-bye week. The one that I was thinking was last year, they beat Texas A&M. They were 4-2 last year. They were 2-2 the year prior, so 6-4 is what I was going to. I only gave you the 2022 record. But South Carolina last year, after the bye week, after they beaten Kentucky, after the bye week, they played a really good game against Texas A&M, jumped all over A&M from the get-go. It was that night game. Everybody was going crazy. Xavier Legette had the big touchdown to start the game. That's another reason why I think tomorrow South Carolina does win this game. I really, we've not always done our predictions here on this program this year, but I think South Carolina comes out tomorrow. I think the atmosphere is going to be electric. Florida's been in these kind of atmospheres. They're not going to be fazed by sandstorm and towels and jumping around. They're definitely not going to be fazed by the train that comes rolling out, Jen. Probably not. But I do think that the fans can create a great environment. And yesterday, Shane Beamer talked about the fans and the hostile environment of Williams-Brice Stadium and how the fans can impact the game, what Williams-Brice Stadium has become. I think that's another reason. This team coming off of bye week, this team getting ready, and again, the fans, the hostile environment, I think that plays into it. So you've two factors there. That's why I say I'm going to be really intrigued to see Tree and Travon Ball and the development team, but I'm also going to be intrigued to see how the team plays with this environment. Here's Shane Beamer last night talking about the environment at Williams-Brice Stadium.
We, first of all, thanks to our fans, because I know this game was sold out when the game time was announced 2 weeks ago. So thanks to our fans for that. It'll be a rocking environment. From a recruiting standpoint, 3:30 is kind of like the perfect start time because it gives recruits, if they're traveling, we've got kids coming from Ohio, Tennessee, Florida, New Jersey, or Georgia this week as well, Mississippi. It gives them an opportunity to not have to leave so early to get here, and then they're able to get home and not get home at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. So it's really a perfect time from a recruiting standpoint, and we need it to be, one, for recruiting, but two, this is Florida's third away game this season, and I mean, they've talked about it. I'm not saying anything.
You're not
bulletin board. They talk about it. They've had struggles away from home, and they'll be the first to tell you that. So we certainly don't need Columbia, South Carolina, and Williams-Brice Stadium, a place where any team goes to get right. We need to make this a hostile environment on Saturday.
That's Shane Beamer talking about tomorrow's atmosphere. Florida on the road, South Carolina welcoming them into Williams-Brice. Maybe not as welcoming as they need to be hostile. 803-404-6100. We'll wrap up the program when we return. It's the early game.
Catch the Love Chevy High School Football Show with Tommy Moody, Justin Hall, and Ed Bird this Friday at 9 p.m.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. As the weather cools, both your quarterbacks will feel the heat on Sunday, assuming
All right, we've made it. We have made it. We have made it. I have made it. I don't know about y'all. I have made it, though. We are good to go. Just got one more segment, and I really need to get my oil changed, and I got to play in a golf tournament. It's that kind of day.
My nighttime heartburn would keep me up. I'd be taking antacid after antacid all night long. But then I tried Prilosec OTC. Just one pill a day blocks my frequent heartburn for a full 24 hours, giving me one-and-done heartburn relief. Without heartburn keeping me up, I'd have a restful night's sleep.
Prilosec OTC. One pill a day, 24 hours, zero heartburn. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief. eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
We ain't there yet.
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey, Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind
Make sure we mention the Rugby World Cup.
I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PACK to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just
Oh, we got a lot we got to do, actually. I keep forgetting it is Friday the 13th.
5 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. Code PACK for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Happy 62nd birthday, Granddad.
Thanks, sweetheart.
I got you this.
Oh, my.
Oh, wake up so I can go play golf. Oh, stretch it out. Like I've stretched all morning, still feeling it. Getting old.
Needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack. See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Playing at Fort Jackson, playing in I think it's the football alumni USC Association of Letterman golf tournament. Association of Letterman. Playing with Gamecocks Plus on the Gamecocks Plus team. No work today, just golf. Then go by Old Timey Meat Market and get a good steak or something. Maybe not a steak. I'm not in the mood for a steak. Maybe some salmon. Salmon and crab legs, maybe. You see where I'm going with that.
(803-404-6100). Friday, October the 13th. I have a bit of a confession I need to make. Not sure how this is going to play out. I have never watched one of the Friday the 13th movies, ever. I'm familiar with them, but I have never watched a Friday the 13th movie. It's not really been on my genre. I like scary movies. I like horror movies. I'm not a huge slasher movie guy, but I have never seen one of the Friday the 13th movies. As a matter of fact, to tell you just how, and I just realized this as I was kind of looking down at the date and doing something, realized, I remember today is the 13th and it's a Friday, which equals Friday the 13th, that I'm not 100% sure which one is the villain in Friday the 13th. Is it Jason? Didn't catch your mic there. You were busy over there.
Sorry, we have a live broadcast coming up at 9.
Oh,
so
you're
I'm
working
listening to
hard.
them. They're trying to get
You're
the
trying.
equipment
Oh,
set
you're
up.
doing work. Okay, you're not listening to me. I totally understand. That's good. It's a good idea to do some work. Yeah, Jason. I think no, I've never seen. I don't know if anybody else fits this. I've actually never seen a Freddy Krueger movie. I've never watched Friday the 13th. I do like the Halloween movies though. Michael Myers is the ultimate Halloween villain. So, yeah, get out there, start watching some. Maybe taking a good Halloween movie tonight. Was it Hubie Halloween or Herbie or whatever it was with Adam Sandler? I gotta admit I wouldn't recommend that one either, because I watched that with the kids about a year ago and that was not exactly the best Halloween movie. But yeah, get yourself out there Friday the 13th tonight. Should be a fun night. Want to mention also tough night last night at Stone Stadium. South Carolina, Tony Annan's group playing a lot better here in recent weeks and had a great opportunity against 7th ranked West Virginia. Last night, Stone Stadium rallied. Ethan Deckel-Dax playing exceptional soccer right now, and Gamecocks rallied to tie the game at 2-2, only to give up a goal in the 71st minute to West Virginia. They fell 3-2 last night, but a really good effort by them over at Stone Stadium. Be interested to see as they continue on through the season, as Tony gets his team healthier and gets guys back, maybe what kind of push they can make down the stretch in the Sun Belt is, again, playing a lot better. Tough break for them last night over at Stone Stadium. The women's soccer team, Shelley Smith's club, will be back in action tonight over at Stone Stadium. 15th ranked Gamecocks hosting Mississippi. So if you want to get out tonight, take the kids out, enjoy a little bit of Gamecock athletics, you've got that going on over at Stone Stadium. So get out and support Shelley Smith's group as they take on Ole Miss. The volleyball team, who has been performing very well tonight, or let's see, they're back in action this weekend. Tonight, or this afternoon, 3:00, they will take on Texas A&M in College Station. So good luck to the volleyball team. 7-8 on the season, 1-5 in conference. So the 2023 volleyball. So a couple notes there on some other South Carolina athletics. But of course, the big thing taking place tomorrow afternoon, as I try to read everything correctly. South Carolina, Florida. And I actually had this written down to get into a little bit more today, but kind of got steered away from it. This is the third game that South Carolina has played that may be a little nostalgic, if you will. When South Carolina entered the SEC back in 1992, I think there's a lot of us I'm 41, so obviously I was at that time in my life I was 10 years old. You looked at Tennessee. You looked every year on the schedule. Where is Georgia? Where is Tennessee? Where is Florida? And those were barometer games. You knew those were the true powers of the Eastern Division. You knew those were the teams you were going to measure yourself up against: Georgia, Tennessee, and Florida. And as we hit Game 6, South Carolina will now have wrapped up 32 straight games against these teams. And next year, South Carolina plays none of them. We do get to keep our big rivalry games, Missouri and Texas A&M, of course, the ones that we actually have a trophy for. But nostalgic for me. South Carolina will not see the Gators on the schedule. We'll break the string of games played. And to me, that's a little sad. I hate to see, obviously, I know a lot of people, Jay Phillips is very emotional about the Georgia series, at least taking a one-year hiatus. And obviously, one thing about these things, they're not going away forever. This is not like when Texas and Texas A&M stopped playing because of conference affiliations. It's not like what's happening with Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. These games will continue, but whether we see them every year or not, as we have for 30-plus years, it doesn't appear to be that way. Enjoy tomorrow's game. The Florida Gators and the Gamecocks, the last 15 years, last 18 years, I guess, ever since Steve Spurrier arrived, you've had a lot of great moments. I was at the 2010 game in Gainesville. Marcus Lattimore was phenomenal that night. I believe it was Will Hill who is still planted firmly in the Gainesville grass after Steven Garcia ran over him. That's a shame. I hate that we will not see Florida. I really hate that we won't see Tennessee next year, and I dislike that we won't see Georgia.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of all this. I'm really not.
As I've talked about it the last really 6 weeks, 7 weeks, the more you realize it, the more you hate it.
Yes.
Gamecocks win tomorrow. I got them winning by a touchdown. We'll see how it goes. We'll talk about it on Monday. Thank you to Jen. Thank you to Preston. Y'all have a great weekend. Take care.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way.
All right, everybody. Have a great weekend. I got a sprint. Got to hopefully go get the oil changed and preferably get to the golf course on time. Anthony, Chuck, see y'all. Nick, see y'all on Monday. Everybody have a great day. Take care.